And I think our first act is to look at and approve the minutes.
And Chairman, if you could sign them as well, copy
Thank
with
you.
you, that'd be great, thank you.
Motion to approve minutes
Second.
from August 13th, 2026.
First and a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, passes. And then from there, we go into discussion of design priorities, and I think,
Yes, so I sent you all an email yesterday morning with lots of information, a lot of older studies, the information on the FinFrog site and the City Hall site. And I asked you to send me whatever priorities you have, top 5. And I got some of them, and I'm gonna go over them, and I tried to shorten them to make it so there were no duplicates, and it was concise, and if anyone's priorities that I listed on there are not accurately representing what you said, let me know, and I will adjust it on here. So these are what we're gonna be voting on today. And it is accessibility to downtown, flow of traffic, security, number of spaces, maximization of spaces while keeping the beauty of downtown, mixed use, ADA accessibility, alternative parking methods, substation for fire/police, design matching current downtown aesthetics, reduction of pedestrian hostility, flat level/retrofittable garage, intentional artwork with Clermont roots, making it lined, attractive design/blending in, top level to be shaded, full-size parking spaces, so the size of the parking spaces versus the amount of parking spaces, solar panels, and retail on ground level. So some of those are similar to duplicates, but there's a little nuance in between them, so that's the extent of it. So I think, do you want to open up for discussion?
What's pedestrian hostility?
Same.
Yeah, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, so we kind of consider our downtown between 7th and 8th in Montrose and Mineola. That's the square. And people walking around that square, we want to build the parking garage structure if it goes into that square in a way where it doesn't impact the pedestrian walking, because there could be potential blind spots and things like that. So we just want to be intentional with the design with pedestrians in mind.
Okay.
And
any
one,
other ones? Yes.
But now, like
Yeah,
right
just
now,
take mine.
I can walk diagonally through the parking lot to get to the post office. So if a parking structure goes there, I'll have to do a right angle. But is that considered hostile, or are you thinking about blind spots where I might get hit by a car?
Yeah, so like as the cars are exiting the parking garage, you have blind spots from the sidewalks.
Okay.
Any other ones that anybody has questions about? They were all pretty straightforward, I think.
cool. And one thing I want to note is, I think last meeting there was a little bit of confusion about the resolution.
Thank you.
So specifically, the resolution is to create designs for the sites, not to pick out a location. And I state this because it's specifically related to the designs of what we're doing and what works best on each site. And so I bring that up just to make sure that we're all in alignment.
Yeah, and that was one question I had. I thought last meeting we were kind of debating two things, which on reading the motion at first, I did think we were to do both, make a recommendation and provide the best possible use for both. But I think that clears it up for us. Our job is really to do the best presentation for both sites and then present both to the city council.
Yes, and we will be meeting, Nathan and I will be meeting with the designer next Monday, and he should be at our upcoming meeting, so we can give him feedback based on the conversation today.
So our next next thing, if everybody's ready to move on, is ranking these priorities.
Yes, and the way we're doing it is a little bit different than standard voting or ranking. So you get 10 total votes. And so you can put 10 all on one. If you're really passionate about aesthetics, all 10 votes can go to aesthetics. So weigh them how you feel is appropriate, and then I'll aggregate, and then we can discuss after that.
So one thing that may need to be added, because I don't know where everybody's at with it or how council presented it, is the pay option. Do we need to suggest that, or is council, is that? How that's going to work with the rest, I mean, for me, that's an absolute that you have to have that in there.
Mhm.
But there's other folks who are like, no, it should be free, so I think there's a conversation to be had there.
I think that would be you all.
Okay.
It would be you all saying, hey, this is an opportunity for part of the design is that. You know,
Okay.
if you're wrapping something, it is part of the design.
Should
And
it belong to
I
this
agree.
list? To Todd's point, should it belong to this list? Like, I know you
That-
get
Mhm.
those from emails,
That's
but
why I was asking was
Yeah.
whether we need to, because that's gonna be a top, I mean, that's a top
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 or 3 for me.
I think we
um,
should,
So you
if,
think it should be paid for?
So sometimes we have to connect all the dots. If the CRA borrows the money, I think the CRA should say whether they're gonna charge or not. So I think that the mechanism needs to be there for that. I'm not here to tell the CRA that they have to charge. I think that that's something that they should do. But if they're borrowing the money, they have to decide how they're gonna pay for it. And I don't think that
Shouldn't be a blind
that shouldn't be something where all of a sudden the CRA is like, well, we would charge if they would have put in the parking
Well,
meters for it, or the.
Yeah.
I agree with you, I'll say 40%. Let's pretend one of the levels, like you're a business downtown and you have 40 employees and you want them to be able to park. So there should be a spot where you can have private parking for this group and the rest is free to the public. But there should be a reserved spot for regular users.
And that was something that I've had other conversations just because I've been at this longer, where people who have businesses downtown should either have their staff purchase
package.
some type of a package, or the employer is sponsoring that, or however that is. Because when we say that, okay, because we talked about the $3,000 per spot, yes, we're underselling that, but we also know that a restaurant is going to want more spots. They're going to have more staff. You know, Bill's talking about his turnover and how many people he has, you know, at one spot, and that's sort of what we need to do. I mean, I don't think we need to dedicate spots to them, but they certainly need to have.
So how would you word that in this?
So what I will say is that is technically a design element, and it could be a yes or a no, whether or not this committee falls
But if-
in that.
If I were having a wedding at the brewery and I knew I had 200 guests coming, I would want the ability to reserve 200 spots on Friday night from 7:30 to midnight.
I think that's a CRA conversation,
Yeah.
not a
Mhm.
committee
But like,
conversation.
so I think it needs to be in the recommendations of design is potential for reserve section.
Right, yeah. I don't have any.
Would
I'm-
it be
I'm agreeing
sufficient to
with you.
say
Yeah.
something
We're on the
like
same page.
compatibility with paid options or something to that effect? Because I think
Opportunity
it's
for
very
later.
broad- It's a very broad concept, like
It's
to Mr. Tower's point, this should be a CRA, but we should address in the design that the design should be compatible with
Well, it's
potential
like-
meters and things like that.
Yeah.
it's in the FinFrock. Can you pull it? If you pull it, the FinFrock, they actually have the wording in there
Yeah. I read
for the
that.
paid thing. I remember it's there. I just don't remember what it is. And then that way, at least we have a single wording. I don't remember.
We
where
call
it's at,
them,
though.
call it parking blocks.
Yes.
Is kind of the term. for
So there'd
being
be a
able to
way to
set
reserve.
aside.
And that's a design element if we're
But-
creating like 4 blocks. So it's like 4 spaces. Is that about the normal size of something like that? So that's a design element because that's the size of the spaces. So I think that would be under your purview.
The other
But
thing,
if those spaces have limited access, you have to have a card or something to get in there, then that's part of the design.
Correct.
As opposed to just, those are reserved, I go park on the top level where it's free.
Yes, that is part
That's
of the
design.
design. The
So can
mechanics and
we add-
operational element of it will be up to the CRA and council, but the actual design portion of it for that, yes,
Yeah.
falls under design.
So you
So
could have
could
a,
we add a line to park blocks into this, ranking list if
Um,
decided?
If we have consensus
Yes.
from everyone.
yeah, there was a couple things in the FinProc one. Bathrooms are not on here, restrooms are not on here.
Okay.
And that was one that I think as a committee to have that conversation, because I wasn't really sure. I mean, I know there's a bathroom around the corner, so we need to know that the city is planning on keeping that at the corner of 8th and whatever that is over by
And
Bill.
there's also one on Seventh.
And
Yeah.
right across the
Yeah, you just gotta
parking
make
lot.
sure that,
They're not being,
they're adjacent of where they
Well, I
are.
think that's part of what you put into it as part of our recommendation. If we go no bathrooms, the city then has to, council would have to state that we have no intention of removing those other facilities that are already in place.
It was just a design element that FinFroc had
Yeah,
put
yeah, I
in, and
saw
that's
that
why
in
it
there,
was
yeah.
in my mind, and then the paid part was the other part, so, I mean, I don't,
how do you feel about, like, what I'm struggling with is, I mean, we can't reserve enough parking spots for all the businesses.
No, but if there's a certain number available to be reserved,
And it's first come, first.
and when they're reserved, you'd have to reserve them for a month, a year, whatever else.
I think I mean, it's great to say we'll reserve 20 spots for Sun Creek, for instance, but maintaining that security, getting people out of that when they park into it, getting them towed, all kinds of, I think it'd be an administrative nightmare to actually do that. Unless we had a parking attendant, which I'm sure the city would not want to pay for.
Or those 3 spots behind, the art wall that are 15-minute only.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, who,
I mean, they're not being policed, so they're not 15
And
minutes.
Could a
I guess
business,
I
like,
have it
apply
more,
for a
more an idea
validation?
for employees rather than guests.
You know,
Like, could a business apply for like a validation to the parking garage for their employees?
That's a little bit more in the weeds
Mhm.
than we should get.
It's
with
more
this.
just if we have consensus to put it on here,
Yeah, and
as a
that's
voting point.
yeah.
so
And then we figure out how it would look.
my
So I-
suggestion would be to put it on the top floor, because nobody's gonna wanna park in the sun, so if, let's say we say, well, we're not gonna do shading over top, there's gonna be a top floor, then employees park.
So then we would need a motion to add it, right? Or is it's okay to?
If
do
you all
that?
are in agreement,
Are we in agreement?
I had the opportunity to talk to Mark Hutchinson, a Winter Garden Economic Development Director, and he gave me some insight on how they currently run the garage, why it's where it's at, the design elements they put into it, and also to this subject, how they're planning on charging for it in the future.
Yeah.
Because of the concern about the new Amendment 3. And I don't know if we can put it in, if we're all in agreement to actually say paper parking should be in there, which I think most of us are, then the way they're considering it is proximity to downtown. Like their garage is centrally located. But even on the garage floors, like the lower garages, you're gonna pay more than you will on the upper floors. So it may be and the further away that you're in their regular public parking, also in street parking, it'll be like a tiered plan. They're not gonna manage this at all, but I think they're hiring a company to do this
Right.
Mm.
and using an app.
Yeah, which is most major
Something like
big
pay by
city.
phone.
Yeah, I was in a parking structure in Vancouver, Washington last year. It was brand new. And at the elevator corner was a computer terminal. You parked your car and you took a little thing with you. And when you got ready to leave, you scan that, you scan your credit card. A merchant could give you a voucher and scan the balance on it. So it's all gonna be computer controlled.
Mhm.
And I didn't notice any human attendant at that time.
So
Yeah.
But
what,
in that little corner where they had bathrooms and elevators and payment collecting all in one spot.
Mhm.
What was the name on
Something
that
like
from FinProc?
what was,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
what's
You know where
the
I'm-
wording you guys would be comfortable, some sort of pay or reserve parking? The possibility of that?
I don't like reserve because that could muscle out some people that really can't afford it
I-
as a business.
And it's more like a management, it could be more difficult to manage, perhaps we can just, I don't know what the wording in Finfrock is.
FinTrack was, yeah.
But I do like the lower floors being a certain amount, the
Yeah.
upper floors being free, maybe for
Mhm.
whoever wants to park there, that kind of thing.
Back
Well-
when I worked retail a long time ago at Sawgrass Mills Mall, or a massive mall in South Florida, there was an issue with employees taking up the parking spots that are closer to the mall because, of course, we arrive at 7, 8 a.m. and by the time the clients arrive, there's no more parking. So what the mall did is they designated the outer perimeter as the employee parking behind that blue line. So I think what Mr. Howard said is perfectly reasonable, using the top floor of the garage as a paid, not paid, as an employee parking. That would be a reasonable strategy to go about it. But maybe we're going a little bit into the nitty gritty details.
Yeah, because
Of
there's
management
several.
instead of the design. And I think when it comes to design, the most common thing I've seen is there is a way, either you pay with your phone, depending on the area, they could be pay on foot as well, especially with cash, because elderly folks prefer to pay with cash oftentimes. And also there's the meters like by the elevators where the rest of the amenities are. So as you are coming back, you just pay for that. Also, was it you mentioned in Vancouver? Yes, I'm sorry, I have terrible memory, I'm tired. So in Walk in Coconut Grove, Miami, that was very common. Like you would go into the parking garage, you would watch a movie, and at the movies you would just press a button, you would get a ticket, and that was your waiver for.
How about we
So-
just call it electronic parking management?
So we should
Yes.
design it so fees could be collected in the future if they want to.
They can do it however they want, because then we're not tying anybody's hands. I
But
mean,
don't
you've been on
make it an
council
add-on,
before where you're
just-
like,
Yes.
why did they make this rule? This is
Yeah.
dumb.
The closest to the elevator is the ADA, let's charge them lots.
Yeah, exactly.
So just so we have the correct wording that we're all voting on, are we saying, basically, we want them to have the capability to do some sort of electronic?
Parking
Yeah.
management,
Yes.
yep.
Could we call like a fee-friendly design,
Yeah.
fee-friendly, that could welcome if a fee was to apply?
And I'm talking nominal fee myself. Like
Well, yeah,
we're
I
not,
think-
we're not the
That's
We're
up
not
airport.
to-
deciding
And
that.
that's
We're
up
not
to-
trying to charge
I
them
like your
$20 a day.
idea,
I mean,
but
we're not
I
the
don't think
airport.
We're deciding if it's different.
I mean, I'd also like to see it as a design feature where, just like over the Disney park lots, where you can tell how many parking spots are in there, but
Yeah.
that system looks expensive,
The sensors, yeah, those are very.
But,
It does,
uh,
but it's, my gosh.
but it
it's
is
great.
super
It's
handy,
it's cool.
so
It is
it's
great.
telling how many are in each floor, so, and where on that floor you have a
Well, I think
spot.
even where I'm from originally in Columbus, Ohio, the Easton Town Center, theirs just would say how many are available in the garage. That's it. Not how many are on each floor. I mean, these were 8-story garages, and it would just say there's 80 parking spots left in this garage. Then you just got to figure out where they are.
And that's
Well, let's-
probably pretty easy because all you're doing is counting.
It's a car count in and out,
Yeah.
in and out, in and
Well,
out.
let's shoot for the moon and say we want every spot to have a green or red light in it, and let city council pare it down based on budget. I mean, that's
You
not
have that
a,
option.
yeah, yeah, we're not worried about the budget, right?
Okay, so we have the fee, and now we also have another thing we're adding, right?
Maybe call it like intelligent parking management or something like that, just leave it open-ended,
Capabilities
Yeah.
for fee-based and intelligent parking.
yeah.
You'll
Even-
write
one
that in
item.
at the bottom of the
Even
report.
event
I'm
parking,
good, like
like
I'm
you could have
guys
it
want
Monday
2
through
items, or
Thursday,
you
everything
want-
is free.
one.
I think they can kind of tie together just under a management system.
Okay.
I think electronic parking management covers all of that.
Yeah.
And then we're just easy to be able to say, you guys can buy the $200,000 system or the $500,000 system.
When you build the walls, put the conduit in.
100%.
So fee-based electronic managing system, and then in parentheses, smart or intelligent, because I do think. I don't think that's as hard as we think it is.
It's a lot of conduit on the ceiling, that's about it, but
Yeah, it might be
even that's
expensive,
expensive these days, so.
That's all Wi-Fi.
I was gonna say it's Bluetooth. I mean, I can't imagine that it's that hard to tie that one little sensor that it's either full or not full. I
Maybe
just,
not, yeah.
One more
So
question,
do we need a motion to add that in?
no.
No.
As long as we're.
we're just in agreement, right?
Alright, yeah.
Another question is, we have on this list, mixed use and retail on ground level. On this mixed use, doesn't it just implies that it's retail and parking, or no?
You could have apartments up top there's multiple things that could happen with that versus one was specifically ground floor. Mixed use, it could be on the second floor, be on the third floor. So I wanted to differentiate those on there because those were what was asked. So there is a slight nuance difference.
And
So
Lime
does that-
is going in with the retail on ground floor also, that's.
It
sort of-
could, or it could just be the outside, so that's a little different as well.
So with, is there a stipulation on the Seventh Street site that would disallow retail, that it has to only be parking?
That's a great question. I don't know the answer, but I'll find out.
This is where we're gonna get into the weeds a little bit too, because let's assume that we're gonna maximize, like Bill talked about, we're gonna maximize parking. Well, there's still that front piece right there where all those parking spots are that face Osceola? Is that also? No, that's West Mineola.
Yeah.
So we already have all that parking that's there, the slanted parking.
Or the 45
So, you know, we could put a 10-foot sidewalk in front of that with some smaller spaces, candy shops, looking for those small 600, 800 square foot little blocks
And then
to
you
keep
just
people
lose
walking
that
along there.
parking.
So you just lose that parking. So you're losing whatever it is, 20 or 30 parking spaces, but you get full retail, walkable, drawing people along there, which was to your point that if there's nothing there, there's nothing to draw people. So you still draw people along. Eventually, that other side is going to be wrapped. I mean, there's no way that they're not doing retail facing West Mineola from the De Hoya property. You know, depending on who ends up with that. And in all likelihood, that ends up wrapped on three sides. You know, it's got to face the water, it's got to face the art walk, and it would almost have to face West Montrose. So
With the De Hoya property though too, with the current code in place, if I'm the developer, I'll pay the $3,000 per parking spot I'm supposed to have before I ever build an integrated parking structure.
1,000%,
Right.
unless you're doing a hotel or you're doing,
A little, maybe a small.
I believe that the
multifamily.
I believe that the Hoya property, like my property, is excluded from that 3,000.
Yeah, exactly. So like, why would I build parking into a site that I'm not required to? And if the city has a garage across the street?
I mean, only be like, I mean, looking at is it the Kittleson report?
Yeah, that was the
The
parking
parking,
one for
yeah.
20.
oh, yeah. So the parking study?
Yeah.
I mean, and I
It-
know
it
this is
straight up
not our
says,
job, but we're gonna have a pretty serious parking problem in the future as other things develop.
Well,
Yeah.
Isn't the lumberyard self-parking?
Lumberyard's fine by itself.
It's fine. It's,
Well,
it's
three hundred and
self-sustaining.
seventeen spots for 393 units, in addition to like a 60,000 square foot retail space. It's not a net positive, it's a net loss. We're losing 75.
Okay, then
I mean, this
when
is the way I'm.
when it was first approved,
Yeah.
it was self-parking.
I
So
think
in that report, which it could have changed.
Yeah.
Like they could have updated it, but in that report, it said they planned 317. I have heard that there may now be an integrated parking.
There's supposed to be some type of a
Yeah,
parking
that was
structure.
part of phase two.
This scared me, but it may have changed some.
When you read that, and I hadn't read it again in a while, and then I was like, golly, on events we were 900 short or 800 short or whatever, and I was like, you know, that part, even when I was sitting on council reading this, didn't click with me until I read it again, and I was like, holy cow, that's a lot of people that Bill can't bring in,
Yes.
or you know, that mullets or, you know, whatever business. That's a lot of. If every car has two people, that's 1,800 people who didn't make it downtown.
Well, when you're looking at Lumberyard, Police Station, Mineola and 8th, Osceola and 7th, and then miscellaneous small lots that could be developed, that total need jumps up well past 650 right there. So, you know, I'm looking ahead and I'm like, my gosh, it maybe should be this and that, but that's not a no. Our,
Well,
you know, we don't
I
decide.
think with the lumberyard's disconnected so much that if the lumberyard does fall short on parking based on their commercial space, they're gonna park in the dirt lot at the rowing club. They'll park in the parking lot on the other side of Victory Point.
Yes.
You're not gonna park either here or at 7th and Mineola to go down to the commercial space that whatever that ends up inside the lumberyard.
And they brought that up because, and they also brought up waterfront where there's ample parking, but probably people are not parking there.
You're talking waterfront park.
Yeah,
Yeah.
waterfront to
Yeah.
walk, but like if we could at some point figure out a shuttling, you know, but I looked at it and I was like,
Yeah,
I mean, it's really lost, at Chick-fil-A, we call it, lost opportunity.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And like
opportunity
at my
cost.
hammock location, I'm acutely aware that I'm losing probably $1 million in sales because of the design of my parking lot.
And you're gonna run into that.
Put a garage in.
So here's my motion for a garage at Hammock.
Can't
in
they
the dirt
park
lot.
at Sprouts and walk over?
Second it.
I will pay for the shuttles downtown.
So we're gonna end up having that conversation. That's the nice part about having this. This isn't an either or an or.
No, you're
That
right.
it can be both. That
So-
you're gonna design the best one that you can, because you may end up with both. And I know Jason's gonna listen to this and be like, "Todd, shut up." For Jason to redevelop that, the city has to sell that back at $1.5 million to him. $1.5 million for a 1.5 acre piece of property that has all of that infrastructure already on it. The infrastructure alone is close to $1 million, easy. Because that parking lot that we did between Salt Shack and whatever it's called now, used to be
Historic place.
Yeah, so that little one that's shoehorned over there was just the infrastructure side, not including land, was about $800,000.
Yeah.
And that was 3 years ago money. And this one's a little bigger, a little more infrastructure. So, you know, trying to sell that, if I was on council, that is not the vote I want to make. That's going to be an ugly vote to sell that back to him to redevelop that. But it may be one where you say, you know what, we're going to do this one first and we're going to end up having to do that one second, because there's not another 1.5 acres in downtown with the exception of the post office.
But that's where I would love to know if it's possible, the stipulations in the agreement, because like if the decision is to build behind here first, it might immediately make it a non-issue. It might immediately have to be sold back.
So no. So it has to be a parking lot. That's the end of the story. If we want to do something else, because there's been all this conversation of, oh, we want to have it become something else, it
Yeah.
has to go back to him to develop it.
And which brings me to the point that does this mixed use, that contract is really important, because does that mixed use messes with that? Because as long as it stays as a parking
Yes.
lot right now and it gets built as a parking garage, we're not obligated to sell back. But the minute we start talking about this mixed use and apartment, it may mess up with
I
that
do believe
contract.
that to be true, and I also believe, and this is why I love clarification.
Yeah.
I also believe if work starts here, there is a trigger that he can immediately ask for it back.
in the contract, I don't know, it's been a while since I
I-
read
yeah.
the agreement, I'm
Me
sorry.
too,
There
yeah.
is, he can buy it back for a period of 10 years following 3 conditions. He can actually request to buy it back at any point. So currently, he doesn't want to buy it back. If the city would want to sell it, he has an option to buy. He's like first choice at the price that he sold it for a period of 10 years. I cannot remember the third one, but that's a question that I had. Can we actually do retail at the bottom? Because their agreement does say that the city did purchase it with the intent to use as as a parking structure. Does that mean that we cannot have anything else but parking
That's
there?
what I
I'm
was
not
gonna
sure
get
because
to.
I
Is
do
it
not.
ex-
So
is it
maybe let's
exclusive?
take it a step back because
I
there's a
think-
question for the city attorney, and I
I
think
think
we're
what
kind of
you're
like
saying
going
is
into the
accurate.
weeds
Yeah.
a little bit.
You could take the
too
parking
much.
spots and bill,
So,
but I do believe the structure has to be parking.
and if you keep that structure and then you just move a piece out, it's no loss. I mean, you make sure you have a 6 or 8, 10-foot sidewalk, whatever you want, with small shops on the front, and it's still retail, and you could do it 1 story, you could do it 2 stories. I mean, you know, you could, there's nothing wrong. There's not enough 1-bedroom apartments in Clermont, I can promise you that, for people who need 400, 500, 600 square feet of, I mean, you could build a small, great little apartment up top over a shop. I mean,
Yeah. But I think because we're meeting for the next 5 weeks, or
It's
4 weeks,
four.
knowing the stipulations by next meeting will help us to design
yeah.
the best.
Where this mixed use in retail downstairs may not be a problem here, we
But
just
it
bring it
may
up
be.
on 7 may be a problem on
Yeah.
7,
Yeah,
as part of the design.
and
Better
for
than
We
having
can design it
clarification,
with
Mhm.
anything in mind,
Yes.
without the stipulations, and then if we find out it's not a possibility, I will let you all know, but as we're having this conversation, I think we should continue as if you can
Perfect.
put
Okay.
retail as part of the
So
parking
I
garage.
think the conversation would be with Public Works and Stony, along with, probably Public Works, to say, hey, what's here, can we build across the top of this?
Mhm.
Stony's gonna know what's there. I mean, if there's a bunch of infrastructure under there, Stony's gonna be like, you are not building on top of all of my sewer and water pipes. I mean, that would just be, that would kind of, we stop here.
One option then too is to, I don't know who's got the diplomacy, but to approach Mr. Stringfellow. And if the parking structure include retail units, split the rent with him, you know, come to a new agreement.
I don't know that he
Can the
would,
city be a renter or a landlord
Yes.
to
Yeah.
yes.
personal, to apartments and things like that?
See,
Mhm.
Does that?
Yep.
I don't,
Well, Mr. Stringfell's probably listening right now.
he 100% is.
Because the thing to me,
Well, the city
retail
wouldn't-
on the ground floor makes sense at Seventh and Mineola,
Mhm.
but not behind City Hall.
Can I
I beg
can I
to-
add
yeah,
that
I was gonna say,
actually
but-
I was the person who said mixed use precisely because of that, because mixed use doesn't have to be multiple floors, it can be just retail, which makes total sense to do at 17 Mineola. Doesn't make as much sense here. And here there are other considerations, there are other options that we could explore, so I didn't want to confine myself to just retail, because I don't think just retail is going to thrive with this space in just DeSoto Street as it is right now. So that's why I use mixed
Well, I think DeSoto's side here
hmm
just stays garage. You don't do anything with it because you're
Mhm.
looking at a storage facility and a
Mm.
Class B, C retail building that's, built in the 70s, 80s. On the 7th Street side, maybe it's not retail, it's brownstone type of,
hmm
condos that are 2-story walk-up type of condos.
Mhm.
Because if you look at the original city plat maps for
Oh.
here, all of our, we could pass, anybody wants to see this.
Yes.
But all the lots actually that run north-south, our streets, 7th, 8th, all of that, we actually had deep lots that
Mhm.
faced the 7th, 8th, and all of those. It
Mhm.
wasn't about Mineola, Montrose, those roads there. So it was all about going north-south, going to the lake. That's what you want to see. I'm going to the lake. That's what, that's the view.
Well, and again, like our job is blue sky.
Yeah.
So if we think, hey, a brownstone, a row of brownstones would work.
Underneath the parking structure? or-
No, no,
I
you just
know.
Retail
you
could
just put it
work
on the,
there,
I do too.
you only go 40 feet
because
deep.
you have the beautiful mural that's gonna
And then do
drop
the
into
parking
downtown
structure.
also.
And then City
Mhm.
Hall.
So it's like a
Correct.
nice
Well, the
pathway.
parking, the,
Well, I think
the
it's like,
brownstones would
if
be
you have the
on
right
7th Street.
businesses,
Oh.
people
Oh,
will
on
walk
7th.
anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I see it all the time.
So that way you don't have this giant 4-story
That may not
massive
be
structure
right.
that you're looking at, it's set back like 40 feet. Then you don't have those townhomes that then can be condoed, whatever, sold off as fee simple, makes a little money for the city.
Okay. I think, I'm sorry, I would love to keep talking about this, but I think we haven't completed this exercise. I definitely wanna go into the details,
Yeah, so we need to
but
vote,
maybe we need to.
Complete the exercise.
Yeah, let's
complete the
complete that.
exercise.
everybody has 10 votes.
Right.
You
10
can use them
total
all
votes.
on one, or
Yep.
you can divide them up.
So
Divide 'em
saying,
up.
does that mean if something doesn't get any votes, it gets dropped from the list?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
It's more so just so we can focus on what you all care about.
I did have one question, about, like, let's say, how many handicap spots per,
That's a code requirement.
That's like, yeah.
So that's not even
it's not even an issue?
yeah, same with like the ADA accessibility, that's a code requirement.
Okay,
So,
Oh,
And just
and let me be-
one comment on the number of spots. When I talked to Mr. Hutchinson at Winter Garden, he said that the city, when they built originally a 3-deck or 3-level garage, they wish they put 4 or 5 up in hindsight. So
when they build a second, right?
they're going to.
They're going to, they have,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the ADA accessibility on there was actually like extra ADA accessibility.
Yeah.
So it was for the purpose of going above and beyond what the code requires.
Yeah.
What would that be?
That was me, like extra, like putting more disabled parking than the code currently requires us to do. Because I hear so many times people with disabilities or with families with disabilities that they state over and over again that we don't have enough disabled parking. So I figured we're building a
Right.
garage, let's go above. And sorry, just real quick, another clarification, because if I were to read this, it wouldn't be clear to me. Alternative parking methods was also something that I added because I wanted to see bike parking, and specifically a bike parking garage, and also golf car parking, because that's a good transportation method for people who live nearby but not near enough to walk
So-
or bike here. Sorry.
So, excuse me, not alternate parking methods, alternate vehicle parking.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying.
And so just the feedback that I got on the ADA, because I got my ass chewed on this. The big part on the ADA accessibility was for side load vans. That was, I didn't get a lot of complaints directly about ADA, but for the side load vans, there was not enough room, not enough parking spaces for those folks who were trying to get wheelchairs in and out. So that was the one that was a, how do you design this into here? And whether it's up here or over there, I don't think there's a big difference because of the topography. But there's some that are down the hill onto Osceola, and the feedback I got from the folks who were disabled were like, we can't make it up that hill, we can't, and I was like, oh, I totally get
Because
that.
there's no handicap parking on street, is there?
No,
You cannot
there's not enough room.
Yeah,
into
and,
the sidewalk.
and you
That's-
try to get somebody who's got a van who's trying to get there, there's very, very
Well, the
few
only
of
one is in
those.
front, right there by, the other brewery over.
Yeah, I think there's one over in VP's parking lot too, where they have a side set, but
Yeah, there's a couple here.
There,
Oh, yeah, here, yeah.
Do we,
there
do
are
we know
enough
how
to
many
meet
handicap
code.
spots we, actual
It's
handicap
just that
spots
they're
we
all
have
in the
town?
ring.
It is
And they're not down.
minimal.
Yeah, the old
I think it's
handicap,
say less than
stated in
10.
this
where the
report.
art
I'll
walk
look
is,
for it,
used to have
but I know-
handicap.
I didn't see that report till about an hour ago.
Yeah,
Went
I
to my
don't think
spam box.
it was less than I thought.
Could, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Could a concept for, like, behind City Hall also include the circus lot? Like, if we wanted more, handicap parking, like, designate that lot more to handicap parking?
I don't think that falls under
no.
design.
You can
And I
suggest
think
that
a lot of
afterwards
it
the
is,
voter.
again,
But-
what
but no,
you said,
if-
what is the requirement? of
But if I understand your question, for the sake of argument, we put a 5-story parking structure behind City Hall.
Mhm.
Could we then go over to the place we didn't use and add handicap?
Yeah.
That is the answer is yes, but that does not fall under this person.
It's not our committee, but
Yes.
it's a good idea.
It's a good idea, yes. I was not trying to poo-poo you,
Yeah,
just
no,
more,
I get it.
Hey,
It
doesn't
would
fall
also
under this
kill
purview.
parking over there normally for when it's, when handicap parking isn't needed, so cause that lot will fill up first. If this, you can have a 10-story garage here and that lot will fill up first.
Okay. So staying on task, we just want us to put a number in front of and distribute your 10 votes.
Yep,
on this
distribute
list.
your 10 votes.
We're not ranking them, we're just picking 10.
Just picking 10.
Okay.
I'm ranking them.
That's okay.
You want
Yeah, gotta start tallying.
Can I get more votes?
You can buy them 3,000 per.
3,000.
Sorry, I didn't bring my checkbook.
We take credit.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't bring that either. Would you look?
Apple Pay?
I
But there,
Uh,
but there is a 2.5% credit card per
It's it's a convenience fee.
Did you know? Yeah.
You pay your wallets.
Yeah.
You're not
Do
gonna-
we have the name, what I mean?
Disrespectful.
I did 5 and 5.
They charge you no matter how you
Top
pay.
priorities.
Number of spaces.
Mhm.
I feel what you're saying about that turnover at your delineation point of your day with your team.
Mhm.
Because that's what kills me. At 2 o'clock, I could have 30 people working inside and 25 coming in. And
Yeah.
I only have 40 something spots.
Yeah.
I'm dead in the water.
There are people probably dropping off
Are we
outside.
passing
or
it down?
something, that's it.
Oh,
If you bring it to me and you guys can
We use that dirt lot.
commingle for just a moment.
I am sorry for the mess that it caused.
Is that your lot?
They tried to buy it and, it's not allowed within my contract with Chick-fil-A. So
No.
I had to step away from it.
You're not allowed to buy a dirt lot?
If I buy it, I can never lease it back or sell it to Chick-fil-A.
For $1 million a year, does it make sense to buy it and then keep it and then, you're never gonna lose money on land.
No, but they assured me they would purchase it for us, and then they didn't. And now the price is a lot more than $1 million because
Oh, okay.
Chick-fil-A came and asked. So
Uh,
trying to see if the price comes back.
it's
But
pretty-
it's a big issue. Just having enough staff to take care of your customers.
I mean, we have more like 9 to 10, maybe 12, but not 30, but still it's the same issue. That's, they're not related to each other. They're all gonna drive separately.
Who owns that?
Marvin was kind of my intermediary
Okay.
for Ye, so I
If it's who I'm thinking of,
It's
They're not-
not, it's not that, that's not the problem. Chick-fil-A is mostly the problem.
would lock it up now, knowing what I know, I would go back and purchase it.
yeah, they,
I don't know if
Personally, I
we're
told
not supposed to be
Rocky,
talking
just
about
put
this
it.
Knowing you know now, I'd go back and purchase
but
it.
the owners,
Well, because it's what, you've got deed restrictions on it. is what it is, right?
So, yeah, cause it's really, it's like 0.96, but only usable is only like
I say he
0.6.
should have told one of us. We just,
yeah, but the owners aren't unreasonable.
No.
Cause
If
I've,
you know them, I need
yeah,
to talk to them.
yeah, I've met with them before and they're not, I mean,
Tell them I'll buy 'em lunch.
do you know Angie Langley?
Yeah.
That's your contact. I would talk with Angie and say, hey, where are they at with this? And she knows them pretty well, so she facilitated a meeting with me, with them, and, like I said, they're not unreasonable.
Good.
Sure.
Yeah, biggest regret was not trying to lock up where Five Guys is. But I had no money. Back then, I was broke.
We were all at that point. You're like, oh man.
It wasn't really a regret. I could have done nothing about it. But
Yeah, but at least you're on the south side of the road and don't have the sun coming through your window.
You just gotta go ahead and plan on Mineola now. Figure out where you're going over there.
I'm too old for that.
You don't have another one in you?
I consulted to the airport one, and they're building a third. I don't think I have much more.
We've got a sister company of ours is having some financial issues, and kind of stuck my toe in the water yesterday, and I was like, I don't want to spread my wings any further, but I can't not spread my wings because it affects me in an indirect way. And I was like, if I need to step in here, then I will.
I mean, Chick-fil-A's looking at both Groveland and Mineola, and so at some point, if they make a decision, they may force my hand, but almost impossible to get a third unit. And if I
Really?
did, oh yes, and if I did, I would probably have to give up the airports, and the airport is a consulting gig, so I don't hire or fire or train. I just go there and tell them what they're doing wrong. It's great.
But you could have an arm's length friend who does it
You
for
could-
you.
You could go with the current theme and do a double face Chick-fil-A Waffle House.
you telling everything, Zane?
Actually, what
Yeah,
We're
Lot of
trying to
numbers.
keep you,
Yeah. Now, is this part of the agenda?
No, so this is something I kind of just put together. This is So kind of how we determine in the real estate development world, like what's our end goal? So, kind of just gave some bullet points for each thing. I think a lot of that was kind of covered in the list, that was put in front of you earlier. But the second page is, just kind of a problem solving, how do you get from what the problem is, identify your problem, and then how do we get to the end? And that's kind of those 6
Yeah.
steps. And
Well-
usually everybody falls on their face between step 5 and step 6.
Well, I think
That's
it's
when you get to that call to action.
so helpful having yourself and Todd here who, can help us with, there's not really a height requirement, but there is. Like, it's not written, but there is. They're not gonna go
Yeah, there is
above a certain.
On the maximum height on the one that FinProc did was 55, but it wasn't actually the top floor. That was actually the little tower that they put on there, which is a nice design element. And so it went 55, which I think our max is
The
53.
code used to be occupied floors, and I think they just went to total feet
Yeah, they
several
did.
years ago.
So
And a lot of it has to do with how high can the fire truck reach.
Which is.
yeah,
solved
that's
now.
been settled. I mean, Chief Azell has plenty of money. He'll buy whatever height you want.
Mega
But-
trucks.
On that, I go back to something that Bill had talked about at the last meeting. And after he said it, I was like, because I wasn't at that point until the more I thought about it and read back through this, is that I really do think we ought to maximize it. And after hearing what you said with Winter Garden, maximizing what we have would be smart as far as height wise goes.
Reading that study, I was shocked at how inaccurate I feel it is.
And,
When they say there's 1,000 parking spots,
I'm like, where?
Waterfront Park.
Yeah.
And all the grass along Waterfront Park and
Yeah, so-
West Avenue.
The gentleman at Winter
Fourth
Garden,
Street.
he told me that you've been to Cricket Can Winter Garden. There's
Yeah.
that dirt parking lot and the
Yeah, back
baseball
by the
field.
ball fields.
That's the closest to a big attraction, which is the Cricket Can, but it's the least popular lot of anybody who goes there. It's the last to fill up. Now, he said part of it is probably it's dirt, but he said most of it's they will park anywhere else besides there. And then when everything else is full, that's when people start going to that spot. Even though it's the closest
So
to
why do
them,
they fill that?
it's still baseball. I don't know. It's maybe they don't want to spend the money, but they're right now in a different position we are. They have a parking garage, and now they're worried about how they're going to pay for everything else downtown with this potential budget hole that they're going to have. And now they identify parking as more of a it's to support local businesses, but now as a revenue stream to fill other holes that are going to be open with property taxes.
Yeah,
So
we do something to your point about.
So that's when if he had they have 3 now, but if they had 4 or 5 and they could charge for that, then that's even more revenue. And the city of Clermont is potentially going to be facing the same issue, just like them. But they already have a garage. So if you're gonna spend the money, and I think you're gonna put three floors up to maintain a number that is. Nobody can really say whether it's a real number or not, as far as height goes, or whether it can be broken.
I can tell you 100% it's 53 feet. Now, the
Yeah,
city
but-
can break that. The
Well,
city
and
can
if
do
we're
whatever
blue-
they want,
If
but
we're blue skying it, I
60
agree,
something
like,
feet, or-
why wouldn't our suggestion be,
Maximum
Yeah,
height.
and I'm not a developer, so like I said, but I think it makes if it costs you X amount of dollars to put up 3 stories, it's not an extra 20% to put up that 4-story. Maybe it's just
This is a good segue into the votes because the number one priority is actually the number of spaces
Yeah.
from everyone. So
Mhm.
that's what our focus should probably be on. Is that as we continue to have conversations. Number 2 is mixed use. Number 3 is traffic flows. So designing it so traffic is easily maintained. Number 4 is accessibility to downtown. And number 5 is a 3-way tie between maximum number of spaces. Apologies, sorry. The attraction of it and pedestrian hostility and making sure that pedestrians stay safe. So those are the priorities based on everyone's cumulative information.
and I think one of the nice parts about doesn't matter which one you do. This one, I don't think there's as much pedestrian hostility. Over there, I can see it. But if you're able to move those cars in and out, and you bring in that east-west corridor pathway, you eliminate a lot of that because you're gonna be moving up and down the art walk along with the east-west corridor. And it makes it nice that you kind of have that pedestrian walkway that's completely away from all cars, really. I mean, you're not near any roads.
You mean the trail?
No, so
Oh, okay, I know what you mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So the east-west is gonna go, you know, because when VP redoes what he's doing, that's gonna go across 8th through VP's, and then he's gonna angle it all the way up to Montrose along the backside of his property. And then it comes all the way to 7th. It's already designated for, there's 10 foot of walkway, 18 foot of space between Stringfellow's current building and where the garage would go. So their 18-foot corridor goes there. But it would be walkable. And so it would be a continuation of that brick that's there if they choose to do it. I would
In
do it out
some
of
ways,
brick.
almost be like a nice cover.
I would make it as friendly to sort of the art walk as possible. And then Jason still has the opportunity for that whole strip of land that he owns where
Behind the Airstream.
where the Airstream is, he can develop that. I mean, because at one point our conversation was flying the garage over top of his property,
Yeah.
and still allowing him to do that, but then
That'll
that
give us
became
more
problematic.
spaces.
Did you have something?
Yeah, how much infrastructure can we apply to this design? Like, say, Blue Sky, for a parking structure there, we wanted to turn West Mineola between 7th and 8th into a pedestrian walkway.
Do you
You
mind
mean
asking
shut
that
the
question
street?
a different way?
It's,
So
would
by
it be
closing-
within the
closing the street?
purview of this committee to apply a design adjacent to the parking structure that would include roadways and pedestrian walkways?
Is it on the property?
No.
No.
So,
Because
but,
I
But-
have
but-
a,
but
I have
against
a
the
follow-up
trail.
question because I assume that we had some leeway because Mr. Howard, you mentioned that we would.
going
do
back to his
something with-
conversation,
yeah.
that
Do
is
something
part of
with
what
the
I talked
parking
about
lot.
was being able to remove those spaces that are sitting on West Mineola and using those
Right.
for that retail.
That kind of
So
what
do we have
gave
to
me the
stay
idea
within the
to-
lot?
The way I've
100%.
interpreted it is we have to stay inside the lot,
Okay.
but there will be solutions that have to be had by council with that thing.
Because if council wants mixed use, then you can say, here's what the opportunities are. We can still have those opportunities fleshed out for
Mhm.
them.
Yes.
We may not make a recommendation, but
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
'cause
can
right now
speak.
you've got, that's up, with the 45s, the sidewalk, then the setback easement for the parking lot on Mineola. I mean, that's a lot of land, and then you just do parallel, or you just don't do any on-street parking on that side, you know, on the south side. of
100%,
Mineola.
and just do a nice walkway through there.
With canopies, blades or something coming off the retail side, so you have that kind of covered walkway, and it's.
I don't want to go like super like into the details of that design, but I would say that if we're increasing the number of potentially shops because we're doing mixed use, a big issue that for me that we have downtown is loading zones, delivery vehicles. So that
Yeah,
has
so
to
I-
be taken into account in the design.
For my purposes, we can't close Mineola
Mhm.
because I have semis go down there with grain and pick up kegs, and basically, unless there was some accommodation made for me behind my building.
No, we wouldn't close it.
Yeah. Well,
But no,
when he first said about making it, I thought, closing Mineola would be, from a pedestrian
The
standpoint, it'd be
times,
great,
What?
excuse me, when you
but
said
not loading it over.
those spots where you might put skinny little retail, are you talking about what is currently grass
Not really
or what is
talking.
currently parking spots?
Both, because you'd be able to back up to the parking structure, wherever the parking structure has to end.
And that would be, there'd be a sidewalk
So-
and then the rest can be.
So you
So
would
these-
squeeze a building between the bricks and the parking structure?
Sure, why
Yeah,
not?
these
With a
spaghetti
nice walkway
factory.
and, yeah.
Yeah, where these 45s are on this side of the street, that's what we're talking, where these 45 spots come into there. because they've parked inside the right of way, so you could technically, this, cause it's city-owned property, you could come up, but again, there's an infrastructure issue that'll have to be
Yeah.
dealt with at a later point in time, but that's kind of what we're discussing.
Yeah, I just don't know what's under there or where they put that
That's
stuff.
I know
Lots of-
at
there's
one
a big
time
pipe
I
under there.
suggested putting a parking structure, years
Oh,
ago,
Also, like
a
quickly to
parking
clarify,
structure there, and they
pedestrians
told me
in
there
that
was too
street
much
doesn't mean
infrastructure
that
under the
delivery
ground
vehicles don't
to
go
make
there.
that feasible.
It's more like.
Sure, as long as it,
Flying
as long
vehicles
as it
still
could
gonna
be,
go in there.
yeah, as
Yeah,
long as
it's
it
a
could
lot
be.
Vehicles,
more
delivery
than you would
vehicles,
imagine.
like
And I think this
office
conversation
employees,
is
they
better
get in there.
done
Like,
assuming
there are
that there's no
exceptions.
infrastructure.
Well, we talked about,
uh,
depending what happens with
concerns,
the
because
Hoya
that's something
property.
that we have to deal with,
Then-
not you all.
But that's
So,
where
you know,
Stormy
putting a
needs to
dumpster
say,
back there so I can get rid of my dumpster, put a building up behind
once you
my
start the
structure,
conversation, then city
and
staff
have
has
access
that
from the back.
conversation of,
Yep.
So
That'll be
okay,
a
there's $10
obviously
million
hauling
of
2,000
infrastructure
pounds
between
of
here and there,
kegs
we're
up
not
to the
doing
top
that.
of the
But I know
forklift. My
Mineola
forklift
has
goes
a
1
very
mile an hour up
wide
that
right
hill,
of
it's so
way
slow.
all the way
So
to
if I could have
East
something in the
Avenue.
back, that's
Mhm.
fine, but
Mhm.
it's, you know, I just couldn't
Oh,
close
yeah,
off
that's,
the,
it's a
No,
big right away.
otherwise
Yeah.
I'd be out of business.
Exactly.
That was supposed to be the trail.
I think, so going,
Sorry.
so we've got number of spots,
Mhm.
mixed use or
Traffic.
possibility, traffic flow, accessibilities, and then the attraction of it tied with pedestrian hostilities.
Are we recommending mixed use to both locations or just the Mineola?
So I mean, I think what he said is if we feel like Seventh should be mixed use, we should put it, even though there might be a stipulation.
Sure, okay.
Can we?
And I'm
by
pretty
next
sure there is too.
By next meeting, can we have an answer from the
Yeah.
city attorney?
I'll talk with
Listen,
him.
when I said mixed use at Seventh and Mineola, I was thinking retail office. Over here, he's thinking residential, so I think I had not considered residential.
Well, that sounds a lot like Winter Park.
You can actually have both because there's
Yeah, Winter Park.
live work units.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, for example, of Coconut Grove again. There is a building, it's a condo, and it's a parking garage, but it's wrapped with apartments. And the ones that from the street, they are live work, and you can actually have a little shop there.
Mhm.
And I think that could do well, even on the back and on the sides. Now, on the front, there are other
And
possibilities.
That's what phase two of the lumberyard was supposed to be when it was approved.
Mm.
And
It
if-
was you worked, you lived,
Yeah.
and then there was a parking lot in the
And
back.
No,
if
but
there
I'm
is
saying
a
this
problem
is
with
an
mixed
opportunity
use-
for a business owner to
But I-
live and have
Yeah.
business there at the same time. And I'm telling you, the ones that I have seen in Miami, Coral Gables, Coconut Grove, if they are for rent, they are not on the market for long. Same thing as they are for sale. It's crazy how fast they go.
So we have consensus for mixed use for both sites. Is that?
Yes.
Yeah,
It might
I mean,
be a
it sounds
different
like
type.
we-
I-
concept.
Unless the
don't-
city attorney stops us. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
I don't think so. I'm not totally on board
Okay.
with seven because, and my point is, if the number one issue is number of spaces, the minute you start considering that mixed use, you realize that you're taking away from the number of spaces, right?
Mm-hmm.
We realize.
Yes. That
One of-
said, sorry.
One of the issues that was discussed last week was because what parking garages are, they're just giant structures that don't make you want to continue down that path. So once you get to the edge of the parking garage, you're just like, oh, I don't need to go any further, and then you exclude businesses further down. Whether, that's kind of what the purpose of doing the retail is, to continue people to move through, to go, what's next?
Well,
I'm more on board with the retail than the living. The mixed use living is where I'm getting caught because if the number of spaces is our number one priority in creating those spaces, that mixed use with residential opens a whole new can of
So-
worms.
Would
just-
you, sorry.
So, have you seen the coffee seventh, whatever?
I have seen.
Okay, so there's an apartment above that, so that would be, is that yours?
Yes.
I didn't realize it was yours.
That's
So
How's
the-
the view from the roof?
So, anyway, for everybody, that's essentially what they're talking about was, because I was on council when that came up.
I
to
think
the
it's
front.
fantastic. I think seven is fantastic, but I think if the number one priority is to create parking spaces, the minute you go into that, you're taking away from this parking
So-
spaces.
I'm not a super fan of adding anything over here besides parking garage. I don't.
Yeah.
And from a city perspective, the city's not gonna wanna be a landlord. The smart move on this, and this is what we talked about with the Hoyas property. go in, put in the city infrastructure, break it up into whatever pieces it is, and then allow somebody to purchase that and build what they want, just like what you did. And you make it so that that size, because you had an issue with yours that it was like 50 square feet short of our code or something. Because I dealt specifically with your property. It was 50 square feet
Over? You mean?
under, yeah, your top living
Oh, for the
floor was
next
50.
use, yes. For
So
the-
we had to do, because I remember that coming before me, and I was like, "Are we really arguing with her over
Yeah.
50 square feet?" And they were like, "Yep." And I was like, "Okay, this is dumb."
That's a closet.
Well,
But because she was putting a walkway there, so she wasn't using up her full land, so that she could get her trash cans in and out or whatever
And
it
we
was.
did,
And I
we
remember when it was
modified the
presented
deed.
to me, I was at a point sitting on council going, "This is stupid. Why would we not just go ahead and approve this?" And we had to go through the motion, but I remember seeing it going, "This is such a cute little
Well,
design."
And like I say, that when I think of the east-west corridor, I see a small retail, maybe a bike rental.
Mhm.
You know, like you park your car, you rent an electric bike, and you go downtown. Yeah, I sit, the retail I see on the south side of the parking structure is amenities. Please, no more coffee.
I
On the
think
north
two
side,
people might agree.
on the north side, I could see some other types of retail, but I don't see any large retail at all. I see little
Hey, no. I don't see any.
convenience.
I see a little candy shop. Those little
Yeah.
400 mom and pop
Yeah,
first
Mama-
time
Mama Bee's
business.
Popcorn
Yeah,
in
it's,
winter.
it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
I would say,
It's
especially
like 800,
now that
40 feet deep,
Weston
20
is
feet
being
wide, just
redeveloped,
box,
so
box,
we
box.
lost one of our incubation hubs, basically, and also, what's the name of the
The
brick
exchange.
building? Yeah, the exchange. Thank you. Also, that one apparently the vendors that were there, their leases are not being renewed because I don't know exactly what's going on there.
Cancel the leases.
But,
Yes, they
but
cancel
Anna,
the leases, so
respectfully,
we
we are here to solve the parking problem,
Yeah.
not
Right.
the retail space problem.
However,
Yeah.
parking is it's an important piece of infrastructure, but the only thing that it does is not just parking. If we just want parking, we can make the simplest, ugliest, maximum number of spots. But it's not,
Well, but I
that
think the
would break.
challenge comes, so the challenge to me is I've seen parking garages, to be honest, that stopped me and I was like, wow.
Mhm.
Like I saw one that was, the exterior was almost like treated cedar wood out in Portland, absolutely looked gorgeous. Using different forms of lighting or, building art along the building. I think we're arguing a little bit, and I'm almost 95% sure there's a stipulation on 7 that we can't be mixed.
Well, if it, I won't speak for Jason. Jason, you can text me if you want. But if it came down to the garage going in his preferred spot next to on his former property, but he had to make a side deal with the city to allow that original agreement to be amended, I'm sure he would be at least willing to talk about it.
But I'd be more willing to say that would be a recommendation as long as we also say,
As long
then
as it
let's
does,
go
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
So then let's go,
Yeah.
let's add that 5th floor.
And also to Anna's point, if city council just wanted a box for parking, it would have been approved already. We wouldn't have had this committee.
I
I
don't
don't
think
know
I
that.
agree.
Well, that goes back to those 6 steps I said that you have
Yeah.
there. Is
Yeah.
city council can't get past step 5. They can't get to the finish line because they're all afraid. I don't want to say afraid. They just can't make a decision that they feel is probably the best one. They keep second guessing it, I think is what it is. And it's the funding, you have meet me in the middle that they, for funding there. It's a lot of questions of, we have this pot, what are we gonna use it for?
Paralysis
And
to
this way,
analysis.
it's our fault.
The 7th site, I think it's calling 472 spots, right, and basically 4 stories,
Mhm.
kind of. Okay, so does that mean we add another 100 and something if we go up one more story?
Well, it's-
I'm in favor for that.
Yeah, it's
To
470.
begin with.
It's 470 minus the 80 that are already there, 85
Yeah,
there,
90, I
and then
think it was
we
90.
and then we have to take away the 85 from the De Hoya property because one day, sooner or later, that will not be a parking lot like it is now.
Yeah.
So
That'll be something.
really, you're netting maybe 220, 230, if you go with the,
But if you go one story higher, you're
Yeah.
probably getting closer to 600 maybe?
yeah,
And did that drawing have the flyover to Mr.?
no, that one doesn't.
No,
No,
and
no,
I asked,
no, no,
I
no,
asked
no,
if we
no.
could do the
That's another option.
flyover, and,
Is to pick him,
No.
pick him up on the
Yeah, because
flyover?
it doesn't, because we
it's
stop
not
at
within,
the-
it's not within the lot, we're
Yeah.
not allowed to touch it.
So
But
like, I
like-
think I could say,
to my point.
if we got up another story, then we can maybe look at some small
So-
mixed use. but-
I'm gonna tell you that on the, I think we should maximize it. I like the 475. It comes in at 13 million. I think that's doable. I think if we get too far outside of that, then we start adding too many stories. If we start, 16 million was a hard pill to swallow for council. So when we start talking about where council's gonna go, council had a hard time with 16 million. That's part of the reason it wouldn't move forward. This one back here was 16 million, however many years ago. When was that one done? That one was 16 million. FinFrock got this one down to 13 million for almost 40% more spaces. I mean, that's a
Did
big deal.
FinFrock ever look at this though? Because FinFrock does the precast, where here this was a custom cast in place.
100%. But that was the difference in, this is why that didn't get built, was because it was $16 million. They got this one down to 13 for 500 spots. And
Right here on
7, right?
7,
Yeah.
you're talking about 7.
yeah, so, and when we start talking about the Hoyer property, it's going away at some point, for sure. I saw today there are a bunch of yellow poles across from CBC that look permanent. They're bolted into the cement, and our sign for parking is gone. And I did question one of the council members who was leaving and said, "Hey, what's going on with that?" And the thought was that we no longer have a lease with them. So that's 100 spaces that's gone out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
And
Parking
I
study.
agree about, so the maximization of the parking spots, because in my vision, that property across is going to be developed as retail, and they're gonna have it facing both the street and the water. And so that is what is going to pull people past the parking garage, is there'll be
100%.
retail already. And so that would allow us to beautify the heck out of the outside of the parking garage, but absolutely make it as massive as we can.
And going into that, people are not going to go past 7th anyway, because that goes into the historic section. And this comes back to what you were talking about, that right now you feel that the center of the city is between 7th and 8th.
Well, 7th and probably, it's gonna become 7th and the lumberyard soon.
The
Yeah.
problem is it's gonna be 7th to west,
Yeah, the
and
sweet
it's gonna
spot's gonna
happen
move west.
very quickly because all of the development is going to be to the west. There's not gonna be anything to the east because there is nobody who's gonna say, yes, we wanna go tear down all of our historic, and that is really the only historic. When you start going west, and if you look at the old
Houses there?
the old stuff that way, and also what they were doing with the plan. When Darren Gray first put that plan out, they were running Clermont all the way out to 12th Street. That all of those old block homes, every piece of land over there was going to get bought up, consolidated, and reconfigured all the way to 12th Street. Because when I first saw that, I was like, is Clermont really going to be that big? I mean, I didn't have a.
I mean, I think that's eventually where it's gonna go. You get a lot of them over there that are renters, and again, someone like me who's a developer, if I was on the residential or smaller commercial side,
Start putting blocks together and build.
yeah,
Oh
exactly.
my! But I mean, when I first saw it, and you're talking that was done in. Well, you were on the council at that time.
There have been several things, there's a dry lake bed there between 10th and 11th.
Yep.
That's been proposed for development more than once.
I think
Yeah, it's not
Yellowstone's
a
got
piece-
that
yeah.
pretty-
Pieces of it in the 100-year floodplain.
I saw, I remember when I first moved here, I was like, that'd be a great spot for a parking garage.
So can we take it back to the maximizing the space? Okay.
Yes.
I had a couple of concerns. One of them is safety, because I understand that you are, including you, Jordan, actually, you're all merchants, so you have businesses here. I'm a resident, so me and my neighbors, we walk here, we bike here, and even with the traffic as it is right now, Sometimes drivers are not the most considerate of people. And 7, with the trail, is right there. I see kids swimming, not only children actually. The other day, a lady almost ran me over with an electronic motorcycle, like 70 years old or
Those
so.
are
She was having the time of her life with that thing. But she almost ran me over. I was right there at the pedestrian crossing. She saw me. We locked eyes, and zoomed right past. So when you say 500 parking spots at that location, that is concerning to me, because even with the number of cars right now, sometimes I feel unsafe. Like sometimes drivers just blow past the stop signs. Another thing, I hear that the east side is the historic side of Clermont. That is true. It is historic. I don't want to be morbid though. Most of the neighbors there, the residents are elderly. And your heirs typically, they don't keep the house. There is 2 condemned properties on Osceola right now on that side. We're updating the code. Are we sure that that's always going to stay as it is currently? Or do we think that with the updated code that can change? And by placing a massive parking garage there that is just maximize parking, no mixed use or anything, are we foreclosing on that? So those are a couple of things that I want you to consider.
From a traffic standpoint, no matter where we put it, it's gonna create more traffic.
There are fewer pedestrians here though.
I wish that I could conceive where one end of the building was in and the other building was out. But on both of these locations, I think your in and out's gonna share 7th Street. Mineola is a wider street with a wider right of way than DeSoto. So I'm partial to Mineola as an access east-west street.
And there's far less
Yeah,
stop
but that's
signs.
not our, but I mean, we're not.
But when it
Again,
comes, when it comes
Yeah,
going
we're
to,
away
not
from
just-
what we need
Yeah,
to
The
do.
only thing we need to do is, we
Yeah.
need to say best on 7th, best.
but
Yeah,
given current data and trends, I think the downtown hub is moving west, not east.
So if we're gonna make a recommendation, Finfrox was 475, so I would say for either location, no less than 450. I mean, I think we need to kind of set a,
With the wording of, if the city is willing to amend the height, maybe like shooting for the star, trying to get even more.
I don't think we should put a number on it. I think it should be.
I'm saying a minimum.
Well, minimum's fine, but
Yeah,
I don't think we
maybe
should go
minimum.
maximum.
I'm not giving a maximum, I would
Because
say a
it's
minimum.
whatever they
of
can
450.
afford, one, that'll be, I think, first and foremost in their mind, and on the location they pick. So if it's more expensive to build here and it costs X amount per spot because they have to pour it in place or cast in place, then that's gonna set the number for us. If it's on Mineola and it's Finfrock and they're doing the precast stuff, then maybe they can go higher for the same amount of money. I'm just saying, a recommendation, yes, have a minimum, which this one right now is well below at least the original plan.
And that's why I said that
Yeah.
I think, A, they should be comparable. If we're gonna make recommendations for these things, A, they should be comparable.
in size.
Yeah.
And B, we should be forward-looking, knowing that we've probably lost 100 over here.
Yeah.
We're probably gonna lose 100 over there, depending on what happens with the De Hoya property. But that De Hoya property was $3.5 million, 3.5? I think it was 3.5 was our offer on that. There's no way that's gonna be a $3.5 million parking lot.
We only got,
I mean,
we only got 500 and something to work with.
So here, just real quick, guys, so we're looking at 7th and Mineola, you know, we're talking about maximum height. You're talking about putting a 5-story structure right in the middle of everything that is a 1-story structure, this just clad cast or precast structure that's just gonna be painted tan, maybe have some peel and stick brick on the side of it. Is that something you really wanna have right down in the center?
Well,
Well, it won't,
the right across
it
the
won't
street
be
is
the
the Hoya
center.
property, which
As
is
we
nothing.
said, if things are going west, it won't be the center.
Right.
5
as it
years from
sits
now,
right
it could be the corner.
Yeah.
Does anybody care that the Winter Garden parking garage is
Right in
not
the center?
aesthetically pleasing? They don't when they want a parking spot and it's there.
But it's behind everything. It's not in the
100%.
middle of everything.
yeah, but what's,
So-
what's
so
Patrick going
stories
to on
either.
VP? What's his height? He's going full
He's
height
at
there.
least 3 stories.
His
The hotel.
hotel is gonna be, his hotel is going to be 53. He needs,
And
And
whoever
whatever is
develops
on
De
De La
Hoya,
Hoya is
you know it's
going
gonna
to
be
be
more than
yeah,
1 story.
I'm just Just
Yeah.
saying, because everything that you're backing up to
It'll
that is
stick
on
out for sure.
Montrose
Yes.
is all the historic stuff that's 1, 2 story. Just wanna bring that up.
Well, that's a great point, and I think if it's built within the next year or two, it would stick out. I think looking forward at the landscape of what it will become, it
I-
won't stick out as much.
That's what that's why I say we're building for 20 years from now. We're not
Yeah.
building for today.
And I do have a question, maybe Todd, you'll know this. The other two residential properties that are on Lake and DeSoto,
Mm-hmm.
has anybody talked to those people about potentially selling?
You're talking about right there at the corner?
I mean Kathy's old place?
Right behind the parking lot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right,
yeah.
bang,
So,
bang.
Yeah.
so the guys who developed the corner of Osceola and 7th, so they put in 2 big homes, 2 rentals. It
Osceola
was
and Lake.
OSO contracting.
Yeah,
Jason
yeah, yeah.
Stringfellow
Yeah.
used to own it. He sold it to them. I can almost certainly guarantee they're not going to care because they're using that for a home site with and they didn't have
Business.
they were going to use it as a home site with a rental, just like they did with the other ones.
What I'm saying though is, if you wanna maximize, that's just looking at it from an aerial standpoint. If you could gain that extra half acre, 3/4 of an acre that is right there, you could get a parking garage that can go from 7th all the way to Lake behind this building.
If you buy Dr. Hurley's old place, and if you take out the place on
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm just,
yeah,
as far
one,
as just
one
looking
guy
for-
stood
we're not-
before city
like,
Again,
you
council.
can't
this
make
what
that-
ifs are
Please,
taking
buy
us
that
away
building.
from
Yeah,
the
it's
task.
great.
right.
It's a great idea outside of purview.
Yeah, we just can't make that right.
But again, you're getting further and further from the merchants.
I think.
Yeah, I don't think it's unreasonable to say that if the city's gonna spend money and time and effort to do this, they should put the most amount of parking spots a site can handle.
So I think that's like number one for either site. What we're saying is a minimum of 472 or more.
Right. Well, I said 450 in case they want to do, because there was things to pull away where they would pull away from the police station, which I don't really support. And then there was bathrooms, which would pull some away. So there were some pullaways in case they were.
So how do we need to make a motion for each point we want to add, or can we reach
No,
consensus?
because we're having a design
Okay,
done, and that's when we'll make
If,
the.
if everybody's agreement that it's going to be no less than 450, then we know that we can say, hey, we're going to do.
I agree for this side, for that side. I'm sorry, I cannot
Percent.
see it like,
anybody else disagree?
I 100%
On the
agree
number?
with,
I'm-
as far as on 7th and Mineola, like, it just,
So you wouldn't even vote for the 472?
not there just because until that time comes where someone else sets a standard in the area that says this is what the height's going to be, then that would make sense, because you're looking at, if you listen to when Mr. Bianchi was here and Councilwoman Strange, her whole thing was, is it beautiful? Is it something that makes me want to be here, draws me here? And when I think about something, the structure that size based on the renderings we've seen, it just doesn't appeal and pull me in.
Is
Now,
there
if we
any-
could find a way to skin it.
Is there any
with retail-
behavior? But is
Yeah,
we
but
talk about parking garages as if they're a park or a nature, something a natural feature that people would come and see. It's a parking garage. So can anyone have any behavioral sciences data before us that says a parking garage either pushes people away or draws people in? I think it's more like it doesn't do either.
Well, I think Nathan, last meeting, from his years and years of experience of doing this, he said that parking garages kind of don't attract people.
Well, they're not supposed to.
Yeah.
It's where they park their car. It's
Right.
the businesses
So-
around
so-
that. So
why
walkability. I think walkability begins when you arrive. It's not. You don't go to some place to then walk to someplace else that's attractive. You want to be in the center. And my recommendation for if it's behind the courthouse or behind City Hall here would be you have to do something to get them from here, all the way over there, and then further down west. Because if we're talking about walkability and we talk about how walkability ends at the parking garage, I don't necessarily agree that that's important, because the walkability will begin when they get out of their car.
Right,
Well,
and that's like the Winter Garden parking garage. Same thing. It's set back behind everywhere. You walk out of there, you're on their kind of brick backside of everything, and then you walk down through that cut that's urban on plan, and then boom, you're in the
But
middle of everything.
there's a lot of homes around that. And Mr. Hutchinson talked about that on the phone yesterday, and I encourage everyone to give him a call. He said he'd entertain any call for any questions, but there was a big discussion about this, and he said it was all political. He said people were coming in saying, we don't want a parking garage. And he said now they wish they built a bigger one in that same spot. And it's not a very beautiful
just-
parking garage.
But I think to move the conversation ahead, we should hear from each person where they land on it. Cause I think you're firmly maximize. You guys are maximize
Well, I
one
don't
site.
want a 20-story either.
No,
but
no,
it's-
no,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's,
yeah.
it's not, you know, you
Yeah.
could build it as
But
far as,
I think we're just
physics
trying
allow
to
you, but-
reach consensus, so if it's
Yeah.
like, well, we have what, eight?
Well,
Eight people.
maximize,
but yeah, but I'm saying if you're gonna put a 3-story parking garage on that piece of property down there on 7th and Mineola, I think that is a waste of money. Cause it'll be full up all the time. And everything spreads out when development is gonna keep going, and we're already
And
gonna
if-
be,
You
We're gonna
can't
net
add 2
180
stories over here and make it financially work, cause
Yeah.
they're having to pull down electric, there's a lot of things that are
You're
gonna go
talking here
into.
at the city.
Yeah, you can't just go up 2 stories, so.
Yeah, but again, that's not for our concern right now, our concern.
It's not, but if we're only designing 2 stories, that is part of the design.
That's why I
So
say that,
there's-
that's why you have to have that maximum number,
wait.
and for me, I'm simple-minded on that side of it. It just has to get as many, we're here to build a parking garage, I'm not here to build retail, and I'm not gonna tell the city that they have to be retail owners. If I was sitting on city council, I don't want to be a landlord, I don't want that hassle, I'm gonna put in the infrastructure, I'm gonna sell the blocks off, and then I'm gonna say,
I would
pay me
agree with-
taxes.
but
I would
if
agree
it's,
with you on it's a liability issue.
Yeah, well, 100% on that.
They'd rather have somebody else carry that liability.
if the city council is gonna continue to approve developments with 0 parking, 16 unit developments with 0 parking, and also 0 parking applies to De La Hoya, then I feel like we should recommend they build the maximum parking spots now.
It's a
Joel-
parking management discussion as
De La
well.
Hoya
It's only
does
a
not-
supply seat.
De Hoya does not get
0?
0.
Because I know VP just did,
VP does because they're existing, so there was a,
but still, it's a trend.
It,
it's a
100%.
it's a math problem.
Can pay the $3,000 and not,
Which is
Well-
20% of what we need.
But my understanding is that 3,000 is not for everybody. It was for certain ones that were grandfathered in. There's
No,
code
for a
Nah, it's for
specific
everybody,
area.
for anywhere in that.
I don't know
city.
that the whole.
for the CBD.
CBD.
and there's always extenuating circumstances based around each one.
Yeah.
But we can't get caught on the 3,000 because the 3,000's there with the idea that we increase the property values and we make money
on the tax side.
on the taxes and on having people downtown, sales tax. We're trying to build something and engineer something that works
But
for
just-
a downtown.
But,
Just
but
imagine-
just for ease, can I get an idea of like how you two feel and how you feel about that statement of what one of our recommendations would be regardless of the
I
spot
want
you're
to
in.
know how many designs per site can we get? Can we have one that
3
does
on each.
3 on each, so we can have one that maximizes the amount of space, one that is kind of a little bit more moderate and has maybe built-in retail or something like that. So I won't really know until I see it, sort of thing.
But I don't think they can draw it until we tell them what to draw.
Like even
We have to give
just-
some guidelines, yeah, so, we can say it does appear there's consensus for at least 450 on this site, is that true?
100%.
Okay,
And when you say that site,
the city hall site,
okay.
Yeah.
so we can tell them 450 spaces, and so that will at least give us a shell of what it looks like.
Minimal thing.
Yep, minimum 450.
Yeah, yeah.
So for the other site, we'd also need that so we can have a general guideline to give them.
Yeah.
Because let's say if it's not the 475 that it was before, and not everyone agrees on that, and it ends up being 425, it will change a lot of it.
But some of that
It's a size
is,
issue.
and this is where it comes. You need, how many people here? 9 people? You need 5 votes. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you're counting votes, which way is it gonna go? There are people who are gonna walk out of here. Tim is not gonna be happy with anything that happens
Yes.
over here because it's gonna be in his front yard. And I
Wait,
100% get it.
okay. I believe the orthodontist is off the committee.
Yes,
Yes.
I should have updated you
Yes,
all
he
on
is.
that.
okay.
Yes, I'll-
Dr. Adams resigned from the committee last Friday.
Yeah.
If you're still on the committee and did that and talked to the media about his beliefs on this, that would have been a sunshine violation. But because of
Yeah.
he resigned, it was.
Yeah,
So-
he's circulating a petition
I-
to move people away from that.
My kid was in there and he goes, "Hey, Dad, he's against the garage." I was like, "I didn't knew that," because I didn't get to go with him.
That's what I got.
But his building faces 7th Street.
Yes.
So we can ask for 3 drawings for each side.
Correct.
So why don't we, like, City Hall, we've got one motion that we feel good with, not motion, but one
Idea.
recommendation is at least 450 spots.
Mhm.
What else would we like? And then they can incorporate those into the 3 drawings for that.
Right.
Right.
So I think it would go to the number 2 priority, mixed use.
Okay.
So what type of mixed use and what size? I love the idea of like micro retail. Since all these incubator spots, West End Plaza and Downtown Exchange, are
They're
no
not
longer being used that way, we should foster new entrepreneurs and give them a space that is reasonably priced to start businesses.
And maybe, as you said, they could do the apartment, you know.
Yeah,
Are you
and
talking
on
about
this
both-
side,
are you
here's the
talking
thing,
about
on this
both sides
side, I
or
feel
just-
perfectly
I think
comfortable
we're
going
just talking
higher
about this one for now.
if we build the mixed use.
And it
On
goes-
that side, again, it's
I
the safety
agree
concern.
with you on this site, I'm just concerned about the water.
So
Like,
we'll have
be
to
good to
figure
know.
that out. And then,
It is buildable.
It is buildable.
Okay, good.
and so my concern with over here is, I would build a garage that at least similarly matches City Hall. So for me, these are 2 different aesthetics, but I would match City Hall. As a business owner, and I mean, I know there's a lot of business owners here, I wouldn't put a business over here. I mean, this is not where I would be trying to put a
Which way would the business be
I mean,
facing? Would it be, it
But
wouldn't
I
be
might
facing
put
City
some
Hall, right?
small
But I
apartments.
think that's really for them to help us
Might.
decide.
Right.
And the thing is, I think
Yeah.
if it's the right business,
Well-
people will come.
And
If
if I was starting over again and I saw a 500 square foot space priced reasonably, aesthetics of the outside of the building would be the least of my concern. It would be actually starting the business in the space.
Yeah.
So I don't think we really
So
should
we've
care
got-
too much.
So we've got minimum 450 spots, mixed use, and then we're kind of asking them where and what type, like what direction would it be facing, and would it be apartment and, you know, small retail?
They
You know, I
can
think
play
we're-
with it.
It'll be a
because-
different
Yeah,
type
that's
of
the
mixed use.
designers kind of let them
Yeah.
do their
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
that they do, you know, I
I mean-
think it's on 7th Street. It
Yeah,
can
the
do anything.
only area you have there is 7th Street. You're not gonna face it west.
Do
I
we
mean,
want to put in there that it should somehow match with city? Because I think it should. If it's on that site, I think it should somehow match
Right.
Yeah.
with the look of
Oh.
the city.
For this one,
Yeah.
I think it should 100% tie to
You
City
guys-
Hall's.
You guys feel good with
Everyone's
that?
in
The
agreement
aesthetics should
Mhm.
match
In agreement
city.
with it matching City Hall's aesthetics.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now on the south side, I don't feel it could be wrapped, it could not be wrapped. I am kind of okay either way. I understand that we don't think retail is going to succeed there. However, from previous planning and zoning commission meetings, I have seen that at least it's a trend downtown for a medical professional to come in and they purchase a house, and then they turn it into a medical office. In fact, though that section is professionals, so I think offices on that side.
Yeah, or else
Could
even
work.
like a dentist office
Yeah.
where you are going to make an appointment,
Mhm.
you're going to go.
Oh, an
That type of
accountant,
business.
an accountant, something
Yeah,
like that.
something
might-
Something like that
Yeah.
could
A
work.
service
Yeah.
type of business.
Right.
And if it's great
Um,
coffee, I'm walking. So like, you know, like, cause I'm looking for coffee, you know. She made me
Right.
something yesterday that was,
It is an advantage in the sense
really
that
good.
generally speaking, professionals, people who work in offices have higher salaries. They purchase more goods from downtown. I think
And,
that could work well.
So what specifically do we want when we're talking about mixed use? Because I've heard a lot of ideas, and I just
Uh-huh.
want some clarification on, you know, there's first floor mixed use, there's lined mixed use.
Mm-hmm.
You can put it on the second story, third story. Do we have any general idea, and also size wise, how?
Personally, I've business professional on that site, retail commercial on that.
And I'm with
Yeah.
you on the same way.
so,
I mean,
so give me the
it's-
street so we can write
On,
that.
So City Hall would be 7th Street.
7th Street, the other one, I see mostly Mineola Street, and some really small ones on, what do you call it, the pedestrian? Yeah.
On
The
Seventh,
pedestrian
that would be
Yeah.
Seventh
walk?
as well.
Yeah.
But
So are
There's
we,
no way
are
you're gonna
we
get
talking
anything
about
in
for
there.
City Hall?
That, along
for
that
that
18-foot?
No, cause
No,
your,
no facing
your
it.
parking's right there.
I
Your-
think what
your
you're looking for
ingress,
is on
egress
this
is right
street, we
there.
want accountants.
You don't think there's room
on
for,
this street, we
Correct.
next to
want
the
retail.
sidewalk?
Yes.
So
No,
I
'cause
think
it's
what he's
18
asking
feet.
is, on this site right here,
it would be, it's considered service retail.
okay, so,
Service retail.
so that would be like accountants, dentists.
Just
yeah.
accountant,
And that
dentist,
would
dry
be
cleaner on the Seventh Street
Okay.
for the City Hall parking garage.
And we want this lined, or do we want this as an entire floor of this?
No, just line.
Line.
Short, like you said, 20 by 40.
Yeah, like
I
40-foot depth, I think would be kind of what you're looking for.
That's 800, what, 20 by 40
That's
is?
800 square feet.
Yeah, that's
That's a
800, so you're talking about 4 to 800,
Yeah, so,
that price where somebody starting their business can afford it, cause
yeah,
Did, okay, did
And
we
is-
get many votes for restrooms?
Oh, we haven't.
I don't think I've ever seen a restroom in a parking garage.
Yeah.
Seems like a safety
You
hazard.
can just,
Yeah,
at
like
this
I
one, you
don't
can just
feel-
walk into City Hall.
yeah, and
So
then, well, you
you
have a
can't
little
use
building
City
across the
Hall.
street.
well, the
There's
restaurant's
another-
closed.
There's
You
one
can put it on the
across the street.
outside.
I
You can put it on the outside, maybe.
You,
Well,
you
you
have a
got-
gray thing, don't
Yeah.
you?
There's one right there.
Yeah,
What's-
there's one
what's
across
the
the street.
condi-
I know.
What's the conditions of that
If it's not
restroom?
locked.
Oh, is it, does it lock?
Yeah,
They do.
there's,
Yeah, but we
there's a
can
whole
work-
issue with them locking and unlocking.
Yeah, during
restrooms.
events.
There are some management conversations we can have about that, so, that can be part of the design, but there was,
Well, I'm just thinking
One.
real quick, just speaking out loud, if we know, like, are the conditions of the restrooms across the street there, are they good, bad, okay? I mean, is it something where they're so, that building has reached its useful life? Does it get knocked down, that extensive parking lot, and then maybe you build new restrooms into?
Or
There
you
were
build,
some issues a couple of years ago where the drains were not installed properly and they backed up,
I do remember.
but I haven't heard that complaint in quite a while. The complaint I hear now is they forgot to lock them.
Yes, that's always the issue, they're hardly ever unlocked, yep.
So did we
So-
finish the mixed use for
Oh,
the City
Yes.
Hall site?
Well, I'm sorry, I was incorporating restrooms into mixed use.
okay.
Cause I was saying, you were talking about, what would you build? Yeah,
well, and
number one and number two, mixed use.
So,
based on code, there may be some bathroom requirements if there's a number of retail, but,
Well, they would have
that's-
to have their own.
Yeah,
restroom.
Yeah, but that's not
They
open
would
to the
just do a
public.
single,
Could be a single sort of thing, so there's,
Yeah.
that's mechanical.
Yeah, and I think Winter Garden, they got some sort of concession because they only had the second story restrooms for a while down there. And the individual stores didn't have public restrooms.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, they all shared that restroom.
yeah. Okay, so Seventh
Hold
Street, we're
I think
thinking,
Mrs. Green has.
I was just gonna bring up, if we're gonna suggest 3 per site,
Mhm.
would one of them not have the mixed-use model? Because I don't wanna hit such a hard roadblock with council that if they don't wanna be landlords, if they don't wanna manage, we gonna make a suggestion on all 3 models on each site with this mixed use that may create a roadblock for us that they say, that's not what we signed up for.
so I think that would be smart anyways, because if there is the restriction in the seventh site.
Yeah, we
then
need to
that
have
would
one that
drawing
excludes,
That's just,
and I think for both.
Is there anything else over here that anybody's really dying for? So we got mixed use and we've got a maximum height. I think
I do, but kind of.
that will then,
what else?
Kind of.
you're gonna wanna add in and,
Okay. No, it's like this is something that I want to kind of like bounce off you. And yes, I agree with you. Like probably we should one of the designs should be
So
let's
then
call
one
it
of the
bare bones,
recommendations
if
is
it
one
now.
design to
Yeah.
just be parking
to
only.
maximize
The
like.
exact same as the other
Go.
one, just
Yeah,
Uh,
I just,
fine.
giga parking.
We're gonna hit
As,
such
as
a,
much
they
from
don't wanna
lot
be
line to
So-
lot
Yes.
line.
build your best
have
box.
that, have it in there, yeah.
So
They don't wanna.
on this
Sardines.
side,
This is
on
what I
the
said.
7th,
Cardines,
City Hall.
like sardines.
so we have the north side of the garage, which will be the south side of that green. I was thinking that it would be a good spot to have something that is maybe more civic, more entertainment in nature. We're losing our library. I don't know if this will be a good opportunity to have a small library there. The problem is that libraries don't make money. Another option would be to try to get like a public-private partnership to have like a theater, like a cinema. I saw one in Coral Gables, which is run by the Coral Gables Cinema, Art Cinema. So there's the cinema, and then on top of that, the city built like an 8-story parking garage. The city runs the garage. It's like too big. I'm not saying that we should build, but
I
basically.
appreciate what you're saying, yeah.
But basically just a spot so that people can go there and they can, we could have like a stand-up comedy, they could rent that out to like have speeches, they could like watch a movie, things like that, something that people can use on that side that looks nice and that hopefully activates that part because they
But-
rejected the idea of the,
This spot, I feel, because of the mental image about not going higher than City Hall, I think we're limited. And if you start putting in theaters and libraries,
fair.
you're really sacrificing some parking. And you have to remember that the feeling of city council recently is not to be putting in amphitheaters and things like on the waterfront to do exactly what you were talking about. So to convince, they say no to the waterfront, but let's go ahead and take it away from the
Okay.
parking structure. I think that'd be a hard thing to
Fair.
sell.
One last final idea, and this is gonna be a stretch, but we rent a van. We drive all the way to the Trader Joe's headquarters, and we somehow convince the CEO to put a Trader Joe's right there. We'll be heroes. We can go all the way 15 floors.
Oh, it's
I'm
easy.
kidding.
All you
can
need
run
is
from here.
people with income.
So here comes the problem, and this goes back to what Bill was talking about with Amendment 3. I don't care what anybody says, Amendment 3 is gonna pass.
Yep.
It's just going to pass. And I'm just gonna tell you that the idea that city council is going to build retail at that cost is just, I cannot imagine them saying yes in the conditions that they're going to be with Amendment 3. I just don't see how they do it.
I agree with you. It's
I-
unrealistic.
I think it's an interesting conversation to have, and I don't think that it's wrong to say, hey, here's a design that you can have. I'm gonna 100% tell you, I don't know how they do it, I don't know how they get around it. The De Hoya property, the conversation was, we buy it, we put the infrastructure in, we cut off the piece that we need for Art Walk, and then our infrastructure's in, and it's sold, and we make enough money because we broke it into blocks that are purchasable for the average, not
Well,
necessarily
and you
average,
brought
but
utilities and like. you
yeah,
got-
so all of that stuff's moved. We've already having conversations where the city could give them a design build here. We've already designed this. You can move in here for, all of the infrastructure is already in, and we've already done all your architecture. It's approved, it's a fast track. You can be up and running in 6 months. I mean, that's an amazing opportunity for a business who's coming in with dollars to say, look, I got $1 million, I need a lot and 2 stories or 3 stories, whatever they end up with.
So,
Yeah, the arts are definitely underfunded in Clermont.
no, 100%, and I don't think it hurts us to ask for one design, perhaps to include something like that. It doesn't, again, they can reject it immediately, but our job is present 3 great best use of design.
Well, you're not
I
gonna
have a
get,
question for you then.
you're not gonna get that underneath is the
If-
problem.
If we
I-
felt like that was a great idea, why not at either location? Why just that one?
It's a different vibe. I don't know if it makes sense. In my mind, that area is so valuable that it kind of has to be retail. It has not retail. It has to be commercial.
Hey, were you here when we had a theater downtown?
I was not. I know that the black box was here downtown,
Mm.
and I think it can be like a great thing to have. If
And
you
the
guys
library
agree
was
with
downtown,
that, putting it in that garage, yeah, sure. This was just my observation. But I'm open to.
I think the Hoya needs to put a roller rink at the top of their building. I mean, when you start allowing businesses to come in here, and as successful as the roller thing was up at the Art, if somebody comes in here and wants to put a nice facility for arts or whatever the case may be, it needs to be privately owned. What's the one in downtown Orlando that's really nice?
Dr. Phillips?
Dr. Phillips?
Is it the Dr. Phillips Performing Arts Center? So we
There's
went
that,
there.
There's Southside. too.
Holy cow.
Mhm.
And they had multiple things going on. So I get it. But even as busy as it was there, the one night that I've gone, because I'm not going to Orlando that often, I guarantee you they're still losing their ass on it, just like they do with the convention center. I mean, that convention center is, so
No, you're wrong. I will,
on the convention center?
100%.
Well, see,
So you only got part of the story. The convention center has been $3 billion since inception, but has actually spun out $30 billion in revenue back to the county.
the arts
I'm
take,
big into TDT stuff.
So I've always been told that the convention center
Because
lost their
that's-
ass.
That's the spin that people want to put on it.
I love
But
this
the convention
conversation
center
because
itself,
I
dollar
recommend-
for dollar, doesn't pay its own
No,
bills.
we got, we're
It's
in,
tax
We're in
based.
we're in Orlando.
Not even in the same city or
Yeah,
county.
It's,
the
But that's
arts
it,
has
that's all
like
taken,
I could
That's
say
all
I
you can
contribute
say
to
I
activities
know-
downtown because I bring a lot of people downtown, but it doesn't help me pay my own bills.
Mhm.
Right. So, yeah, it's.
I don't
same
think it's
thing.
like
Speaking
if we
of-
have enough people that are wanting that, I don't think it's wrong to say one of the drawings to include some type of, but I, you know, again, if they turn it down, that's not up to us.
Sure.
You know, if residents want it, then they should come out. Park Pals got paid for by residents, not by tax dollars.
Oh, no.
Residents paid for that. In Old Clermont, we did that a lot.
Yeah.
Clermont wanted something, we had some land, and we went and said, you know what, we're going to fund this through our own collections.
I have a daughter in the arts.
Yeah.
And I looked at how do you make a successful theater where you work with kids or.
Rich,
Yeah,
Rich
I'm
Widows.
right there with you.
It's an education.
Yeah,
Yeah, I used
but
to run
if
a
it
theater.
doesn't pay to keep the lights on, then.
So
Yeah.
would
gotta
it
put a
be
bar
safe
in it.
to say
Park
the
Pals
three
was actually the
concepts
name of the
should
fundraising group.
be just the shell
Oh, really?
of a parking garage.
The
It's the
shell.
La
One
Caja
with
play
mixed
area.
use and one
The
with some
Park
kind of
Pals
public
raised
utility
the
as a
money.
library or
And it's a little
something
easier
like
to
that.
say.
Can everybody get behind this? If we say 3 drawings, one is pure parking power,
Yeah.
that's what we're concerned about.
100%.
One is gonna be mixed use, and then one is gonna include some sort of.
Public utility like
use.
library or theater or something.
I did want, just for your direction, I know we talked about on 7th Street of this project, there would be some sort of service retail space. Is there another street that we would recommend a different type of mixed use?
You're talking here on City Hall.
Yes, yes, sir.
I mean, it would either be 7th or
DeSoto.
DeSoto, and I think DeSoto just doesn't have the.
Mhm.
I mean, you got a storage facility across the street.
Yeah,
Right.
so so we're fine just saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that storage facility is just in the, or was in discussions to turn it into townhomes, I think.
Yeah.
So
But anything
it's never gonna be,
on the south side, I think has to be a appointment, you're going there on purpose.
Yeah.
Whereas on the Mineola Street,
You're,
oh gee, look, here's a new store, I haven't seen it before, I'll go in. So
Right.
you've got two different types of businesses.
cause I'm probably like when I happen upon a parking garage, we go to Dr. Phil for every show. I don't care what the parking garage looks, I'm just so happy I found one.
oh, 100%.
Yeah, I will tell me how much to pay you, I will pay you. Right now, I'm probably not the average customer either because
I
I'm
think you are.
convenience.
I think you are. It's
Yeah.
it's what I talked about the guy in Winter Garden. People don't. They
It's
care if they-
secondary when I
think
walk
you
out and
care
I'm
very
like,
much if you live next to an ugly parking garage.
That was $20, I think, to park at the.
it's expensive.
I was gonna say, I think I paid $20 when we
But-
were there. I was
But
like,
then when I walk out and I'm walking to the Dr. Phil and I'm like, wow, they really did a great job with the lighting here. I love this brick. So like it both have a place. But I think if you're coming downtown and looking for parking, you care about parking first.
100%.
And then you wanna look at everything else. So I think we gotta mix both.
But I think when we find that parking garage and we pull in and we get out of our car, immediately there's a feeling,
You're right. No,
We-
you're 100%.
you know, it's like, gee, this is
Yes.
a pretty nice parking garage. You know,
Yes,
I'm
yes,
I'm not
yes.
bumping into the car next to me.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
feel safe.
Yeah, and there's one parking garage
Yeah.
that
It's like,
you
yeah, this
press
is
the
neat.
elevator and you wonder whether you'll make it down.
Yeah.
Downtown Orlando?
Yeah, and we
I think
hate that
exactly.
parking garage, then we like the other one because it's, so is that everything that we're looking for at City Hall though?
Yeah.
So we're looking
Yeah.
for one drawing parking only, one mixed use, one with some type of artistic or community aspect to it.
Yeah, that works.
A
And I think
walkway
all of
directly to
this,
the
like,
third
we'll
floor.
revisit this next week when we get some of the stipulations on 7th and Mineola. Who thinks for 7th and Mineola, by a show of hands, we need to ask for 450 parking spots. Bill, do you have a vote?
Hold on, Jason just texted.
Hey,
As a minimum.
you should be very careful with that,
Yeah.
Bill.
Yeah.
Bill,
Yeah.
be very careful with that.
So
text
I didn't
becomes,
solicit it.
that
So-
text becomes part of,
Okay.
450 or more.
Minimum, I would say.
Yeah.
For-
I would
At
be-
7th.
I would
No,
be-
for Seventh and Mineola.
I would be interested to see what is the, by current code, what is the maximum height? You know, if we go with a 9-foot ceiling instead of a 10,
475 was their maximum. They went above it only because of the roof. Now, they could have gone to a 5th story, but then the whole structure would have been above it.
okay.
But I think the starting off point is we have how many votes that we
Maximum.
want to ask for. So that's 4 to
That's
4.
Wait, on Mineola?
No,
Yeah.
like it's.
Yeah, he's counting 5. He's on Mineola, yeah.
So then we would still put that in there.
Yes, that would be, because that's majority. So
What
450.
else? And I feel like we're gonna mimic some of the same
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
because I think
Mm-hmm.
we do wanna ask for, is mixed use possible?
Mhm.
And what would it look like?
So on that one, I would go mixed use on that one, specifically
Retail.
retail, ground floor, small apartments, similar to the way that,
And
I love what she did
I
with
think it would
hers
be
and that.
great on that one if we could
Yeah.
mimic
A little
that southern
eclectic
coastal style that would
right
tie
along there.
in with what's being built in the parking lot of West End.
So yeah, almost
If we
that
could
like,
bring some of that in there.
New Orleans. kind of.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it kind of all looks the same.
So let me ask you a question, and Patrick, if you're watching, I apologize. Are we sure that those will be built? I know they've been approved, but there's no dirt being moved yet. And so do we
Well,
want
he
to
doesn't,
ask
He has
for?
a-
he hasn't even
So-
put in for permit yet. He
So-
doesn't have finished
yeah,
drawing, those are just conceptual.
Well,
Yeah, yeah, and so my
Someday
thought is,
somebody
do we
will.
want to try to match something that
So-
might not actually be?
So council will decide whether they like our aesthetic. We're just giving recommendations. They can obviously say that was the worst group we've ever appointed.
So should we say we do want it to match the idea of the surrounding property?
Isn't there the study though that's due in October, that addresses some of this too, right? The new downtown plan they're gonna come up with?
And
From DPZ?
Yeah.
Patrick's is absolutely gonna get built.
Yeah.
DPZ is not gonna get down into the fine nitty gritty that it has to look New Orleans style.
Yeah.
They're gonna get into how it interacts with the roads and the sidewalks and that kind of thing. But, you know, for me, one of the things I would say about Clermont is that, when I was on council especially, that I wanted to be eclectic and a little bit weird. You wanted people to look at it and be like, what the fuck were they thinking? Kind of cool where you look at it and be like, okay, that's not the direction I would have gone, but that's really cool.
And if I had tons of money and owned downtown, on all my second and third floors, I would have balconies to watch the Christmas parade.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna put a parking structure on Mineola, that the Christmas parade goes down, somehow on the Mineola side, there has to be an area
Doesn't get down Mineola anywhere.
that you can watch the parade go by.
So a balcony,
Well, not necessarily a balcony, but at least
Like
an
an
opening
observation
between
area?
the walls or.
Well, that's usually, you'll see
Yeah.
that.
Well, that's
But
why I
that's the thing,
said
too. You
having a
think of 4th of
10-foot
July,
walkway.
everybody's gonna be up on the top deck.
But
Oh, yeah.
for
we,
fireworks.
we need to have,
observation.
it's mute over
area
here,
kind of.
but on that building,
And can we charge people?
yeah.
But
But
Stand
there
So-
should be there should be a viewing area of things going by on the street.
So with that said, let's talk about 7 specifically.
Mhm.
I don't know
I'll come.
if we use all the 3 options that we have with such hard lines of this is mixed use, this is building only, this is whatever the third option is going to become another conversation. I have a firm belief that even being innovative, that the without mixed use option is going to weigh heavily in terms of cost and execution. So why not use 2 out of the 3 options without so much of the mixed use conversation, but more I can get behind that all day. What he said, an observation. The council is looking for how can we make it beautiful and not be an eyesore, But how can we keep, I don't know if I'm 100% on board of using spaces for this mixed use, because I am afraid the city is not gonna take on the commitment of managing all this real estate.
We
You
would
know,
sell them off.
This, yeah, they would either sell them off or
Yeah,
they
they
would
would.
use a third-party real estate
But-
management company to manage.
But isn't-
I'm
isn't
with
the
you that
whole-
we can't make that decision until we get the feedback that was being asked for earlier by Rocky, that can we even do anything
Can
with
we
that?
even
Because
do-
I'm
yes.
not going to support taking away any parking spaces from over here. I mean,
we can't lose that lot.
right. So
Right.
if we can build onto the front of it and sort of wrap it, I'll 100% support that if it's if it's
So do we,
doable.
I mean, in the interest of time, it's 4:49. Do we wanna,
Table.
table 7th until next week when we know the stipulations?
I think that would be.
That would be wise,
That would
right?
be
Because
wise.
right now we
And-
can't keep
Right.
We
discussing
already
this
have
with,
one design, which is the pared down design, maximum
Yes.
parking, so at least the designer has something to work with.
And-
Yeah,
and-
they can start on something.
they
and
can
I-
start with the one without mixed
And
use.
That is
my thing for mixed use is revenue stream.
Nah, I don't know if that should be the driver though.
Well,
I think,
but that's
I
like
think,
if
I think
they-
paid parking would be enough to,
Yes.
Well, you got
drive
paid
it.
parking. The other thing that just recently
Well,
that came to fruition is in last week's Orange County TDT Citizens Task Force. They are going to give money to the Citrus Bowl to build a parking garage.
Oh, they need
The
it.
Citrus Bowl does not put
That's some
heads in
sketchy
beds.
parking over there.
The same thing with Dr. Phillips and all these other things that they're doing. So what that has done is it's actually set a precedent where Lake County's TDT funds, a whopping $3 to $4 million, the city of Clermont can then go and ask Lake County.
You're too far south.
No, you'll get it. You'll get it. Because the events that we host here with all the sports stuff, because that actually does bring tourism in here, whether it's the rowing, the triathlons, all those things. So that's your revenue stream on top of.
Allison has that number, and we produce, I think it was 70%
Yep.
of the TDC dollars, and we get less than 50.
Yeah.
And we pushed hard for that. Well, she has pushed, because she knew those numbers back and forth. She has pushed really hard, and it's still an uphill battle. So just because it's there doesn't mean we're going to get it. And
Plus with Amendment 3, is there anything going to be there?
Yeah, TDT is
It'll probably be-
TDT will.
is restricted by statute.
Yeah.
It can only be used
But see,
to
the-
market and or enhance.
No, I mean,
Kinda
what,
like the
what
money
funds a
that-
TDT?
Well, see, the,
Huh?
What funds that?
I got
Bed
it.
tax.
that's a
Yeah.
bed
See,
tax.
It's a
the thing-
4% bed tax.
the committee who oversees the bed tax allocation is made up of a couple appointed politicians, event people, collector people. And when I was there, rather than people who had events and generated, we have an event, we've got 1,000 people coming to town, they're gonna pay bed tax. And they say, that's great, but then the hoteliers were the ones who decided how to spend the bed tax. And they were very, very frugal giving money to the event people. They would rather give coupons to the hotel people.
Okay.
So it was like you had your generators and you had your collectors, and the collectors were in charge of the dispensing. And that's what Allison run up against, is we collect it, but they tell us how to spend it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, if it's available, it's a good idea.
So I do think then that we're at a part where we've got a lot accomplished for City Hall. And then once we have the pure stipulations.
Got a lot accomplished for that one too. I mean,
We did.
we can't make that choice. That's going to be a stony. Can you do anything with the front of that? Either we can or we can't.
Right, yeah, and then I think if we can't, and the only thing we can do is try to maximize parking, then maybe we lean more about the pedestrian hostilities, the beauty of the out, like, I think then we kind of
Oh,
push it toward that.
because that's going to solve some of her.
That's
You know, how do we put that art in there? How do we make it interesting? How do we make it weird?
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I love.
And
Have you
But
been
it
to
is
Seattle?
interesting
More fun.
because like I,
Todd,
my wife
have you
and
been
I-
to Seattle?
Mm-mm.
Weird's not always good, man.
Not
I'm
that
ready
kind
to
of
find out
weird.
next month. I'm
Eclectic.
going.
Oh, you'll find out.
Eclectic is what.
Walk,
you
walk
need.
down,
Yay.
walk down Main Street around 10 p.m.
Fun weird.
You'll find out.
My wife
staying
and
in
I
West
parked here and walked to Lumberyard. Now, we're trying to get miles in. I underestimated how far it was from here to Lumberjack.
It's a
And you were going downhill.
Yeah.
See how
Yes,
far it
yes.
is when you come back.
We
huh?
did, because we had to come back, we got stuck with our cars. But, so I agree, like, it's kind of, we're an odd city in that a lot of the growth, I think, is gonna be pulling toward that area.
So, in my mind, before we did all of this, you had a parking garage at 7th and Mineola, and you had one at West and Mineola. You came in on Mineola, you went to the parking garages, you went out on Mineola, and you either hit East Avenue or you hit 12th, and you were out. And that was the way that you brought people in and out, and you could still close West Mineola for Bill and all of those vendors. You could close all of Montrose, you could close all of 8th Street,
Yeah.
and you could have a big, giant
Yeah.
downtown party and pile as many people in here and really not have a lot of interaction between pedestrians and cars because they're coming in off of two main roads. I mean,
Well, and the reality is, this is a great problem. I mean, 10 years ago, no one came downtown.
100%.
Remember what I said when I got approved for down here? I said I could come and sit on,
Yes.
they asked me how I liked, the downtown, and so my wife, before we agreed to come here, we came down two Friday nights in a row with food, and we sat at right around 7 p.m. One time on Montrose, and the other time in Mineola, where we were gonna end up. Nobody. So they asked me how I felt about it. I said, well, it's a nice town. I believe in your plan. I said, but I could kill two people and sit on their bodies till 7 a.m. on Montrose, and no one would find me.
Well, that's the same thing I've heard Jimmy Crawford say as well. Back in the day, you could actually set up a card table in the middle of the
Yeah.
road and play cards.
But I
all
said
day.
my problem with that is, and they said you just kill two people. I said no, I'd have to find two people to kill.
So the,
So
the actual busiest place in downtown in the old days was at that parking lot when it was the Elks Lodge.
Yeah.
And
that's what I hear. Yeah,
that was what,
that was it.
that
was-
you had, well, you only had Elks, what they called on the corner. I don't remember what it was before that.
It was
Grunts.
Rusty something.
That's it, Grunts. And then,
Rusty Fox.
and then
was
you
on
had
this.
Rusty
Rusty
Fox all
Fox,
the way
yeah.
down there, which was Billy's or something. I mean,
Could be.
way, way back.
Grunts
But-
was Bob's at one time.
Yep.
I mean, this is a great, the problem is, and I was shocked at the amount of usage on event nights, but then I was also shocked at the number of parking spots that are still open and trying to get people to walk even,
It's like, we have a big issue, like at least from my perspective, we have a big issue with just transportation management overall.
Yeah.
That's how,
we have a shuttle problem, I almost thought, because I was like, man, if we could find a way to shuttle people from waterfront.
like Mount Dora has freebies, for
So-
example. I don't know if you have gotten those, but those are very useful. Like freebies are like these small, very teeny tiny electric vehicles, almost like golf carts. And it is a company, it's like a private-public partnership.
Yeah, they're,
where
yes,
they
they're
have a bunch of
charging a little bit or
advertising.
no?
No, it's free for the person. Like
But
they make their
maybe
money
the-
out of advertisement, and the city pays them some amount of money. But basically, it's a shuttle, and some cities have it like a circular
Yeah.
small shuttle, or sometimes you can order one
So
through your
you
app.
weren't here when we had the trolley?
I was not here when you had the trolley.
Mr.
So I have been here
Johnson.
for a year and a half.
It's that parked in the pit down there for what, 9
So the
months?
conver-
It's been
the
breaking
Finally
down.
sold that.
But
money
we
pit.
have to find a way to effectively allow people to move around downtown.
Yes.
So that we may end up having that, well, we won't, but council may have to have that conversation of what are we gonna do when we lose these parking lots? Because if we've lost that one and we lose this one, those 200 parking spots gone. That is a really tough place. So maybe they do and it's neat because we looked at it, they use tuggers, so the things that they pull airplanes with,
Yeah.
that's what pulls those little trolley sets. So you have a tugger and then you have just little things and you can right size it for the event. The conversation that we had, and it went sideways for politics reasons, but when there was a discussion about taking the historic village and putting it under, what committee are you on? Main Street. So putting that under Main Street, they would have been able to store all of that stuff there. And they were going to be doing walking tours as well as tours for downtown. So they had all of this stuff planned out. And then whatever happened between Main Street and that. So there is a possibility that that comes back up one day. And it really should, because the historic village would be better under Main Street. Main Street would then have the ability to store the infrastructure that they need to be able to do those walking tours and then also be able to park people. And Mr. Ellis has that depression over here that used to be Westlake, used to be the junkyard that you could park at.
It's in the floodplain, yeah, I know what you mean.
But you could park there as long as it's not flooding that night. You also, when we did the fire department, took over the old facility, the old repair facility. That was one of my things, was that I wanted to make sure that that grass parking stayed there, because you've also got the baseball field there. So you could just run down that road, pick people up and come back in. So there may be something that council has to look at to feed the vendors in that meantime.
I agree with that.
But what that is, that's a council issue, not a
Yeah,
us
I
issue.
apologize, I have to go back to work. Should I just
Me?
leave or can we adjourn?
No, I think
can
we're
just-
meeting is adjourned.
Meeting adjourned? All right. 5 on the dot.
Yeah, right?
Great sharing.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna check, no, that's mine.
Oh, man.
We have your map over here.
Oh, yeah, I printed out. If you wanna keep it, you're more than welcome.
Can't. It's gotta
That's go to me.
Gotta go to him.
Oh, well then I'll take it back.
Look at that.